Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third Olympus Podcast. My name is Fraser, and I can hear myself. Thank you, Charmander. I'm rank 9 Ironman, and I married a girl that I met on RuneScape. And currently I'm hunting the skilling pets. That's been my plan for the past few weeks. And I'm moving on to raiding soon.
Hey everyone, I am rank 1 fishing 5-minute. I'm about to go mine because the fishing records were too easy. And right now I'm mining.
I'm next, so I'm ranked like 13. And I'm just ring crafting.
Hello, I'm Urber. I'm rank 4 Ironman, and I'm doing some agility.
Yeah, and I'm Mason. I'm a really irrelevant rank. Just doing some RC right now and working on maxing.
Nice. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so we're going to start off with the clan review. So
Oh yeah, I'm Charmander, by the way. I didn't actually say so. Moving on.
I've got the overlay. I think everyone's up to date. But so we're going to start with the clan review. We opened the clan on the 30th of September last year. And it's been about 6 months since we opened the clan. And as of right now, we have 135 clan members. So those are ranked members. We have over 300 people on the friends list. And those are the clan averages on screen. I'm going to take the question off. And yeah, so what do you guys think? Charmander next. We opened the clan. We're still the leaders. Same original leaders. How do you think the community's progressed? And what do you want for the future of Olympus?
I'm definitely super happy with how the clan has gone. I still have the picture saved from when we started. On the reason why I wanted to start the clan, and I didn't want it to be anything super elitist or like, the best of the best. I wanted it to be filled with good players, but I wanted it to be an open social CC where people can get to know each other while also having access to the really top-end high-level players for any of their questions. So I'm extremely, extremely happy. I never would have expected that it was going to grow this fast, especially the Discord. Shout out to the Freak Show. For the future of Olympus, I think one of our next questions, we're going to discuss how we're changing the requirements. I would like it to be a bit more open to people who are more into the PVMing aspect and skilling as opposed to just skillers, because right now we're seen as a skilling CC when in reality we want to be a social, just high-level Ironman CC. Yeah, right? So I think the new ranks will change that. We're going to touch on that in the next topic. As far as an inclusive community, I think we have an extremely inclusive community. The only other experience I've had with Ironman clans was Erudite, and I just remember joining their Discord and seeing like Vatty, Tyler, Parker, and a couple others in voice chat, and always just being terrified of joining because, those guys have known each other forever. And I like to think people don't get that feeling in our Discord and CC, so I'm extremely happy with how far it's come.
What do you think next? Yeah, how the clan's gone?
Yeah.
What do you
I agree with like everything you touched on. I like how you can sort of join whatever social circle there is pretty easily, as opposed to other clans like Erudite.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the clan is pretty new, and most friendships are like a few months old, so it's pretty easy to get involved.
And we have a lot of like normies and just people that aren't even in the clan talking to us on a regular basis every day. There's people in the Freak Show and the Olympus Discord, and we've made a really open community that anyone can hopefully feel part of and feel welcome to. And I think our main goal as of right now is to appeal to the rest of the maxed Ironman community, because we've got all the high-level skillers, but we also want to include like all the Ironmen that just want to max and then PVM, because we just want to turn the clan into like the maxed Ironman community. So as of June 1st, we're changing the recruit rank, so 1 banana, to be maxed, or an equivalent in EHP if you're a Snowflake account with like 1 defense or whatever. So we want to be like the maxed Ironman community. So what we were thinking of doing, oh, this doesn't look too great on stream, let me fix it real quick, is we were thinking of Where can I put this? I might just hide the Discord for a sec. We're thinking of something like this, where we would have a way to, very similar to what we have right now in terms of Iron Man EHP ranks, to climb the ranks in the clan. But there would also be a way to climb the ranks if you're just a PVMer. So this is not what we're planning to do. It's something similar, but it just won't be exactly this. We just want to start some discussion and chat about how we can introduce EHB or potentially item requirements or something more like that to include PVMers into the clan. Because in CC right now, you can see on my screen, we've got a lot of high ranks, a lot of top 30 players, but then it falls off real quick. We got a lot of recruits and corporals and stuff.
You're blocking it with the graphic, but they can take your word for it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Also, someone asked what EHB is. It's efficient hours boss. So it's like how EHP is efficient hours played. You calculate like the maximum rates, how fast you can kill a boss in 1 hour, and use that to determine EHB.
Right. So if you just want to kill like Zami all day or Slara or something, and as long as you're being efficient, you're still spending an hour on the game. And we want to reward that. We want to show that people have spent time like raiding or whatever else they're planning to do. But there'd also be issues when we introduce this with like, say, Chambers of Xeric. You might bank like 0.5 EHP per hour, and then if you're also getting 1 EHB, it might not be fair. Or if we do like a combination of the two ranks, or maybe a mixture rather than just straight up adding it, it might just be like half EHB and add them together or something. I don't know. We just need to talk about how this can happen. If you have any ideas, let us know, because we won't be changing it until probably June, potentially earlier. But the recruit rank being changed to max is certainly happening on the 1st of June. Whereas introducing EHP into our ranking system may happen earlier, or at latest will happen on June 1st as well. Okay, so clan stuff out of the way. Let's start with the questions. What is your favorite update? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if anyone has differing opinions on the numbers we chose or how you guys think we should go about it, we would definitely like to hear about it in the Discord. Because I don't think those numbers are final. And like he said, for things like Chambers and Vorkath, especially where you're technically skilling while also getting EHB, some things could be changed. So if you guys have any ideas, definitely let us know. We're super open.
Yeah, certainly not final. All right. So what is your favorite update since the release of RuneScape? We'll start with Mason.
Yeah, I mean, I have like there's like a ton of updates that I really like, but it's probably Chambers of Xeric and TOB, just the concept of raiding. I think it was really cool to add in a lot of group PVM, and it's like a great like social experience, while also kind of upping kind of the skill gap in PVM.
Do you prefer Chambers over Theater or Theater over Chambers?
I like them both for really different reasons. Like I like the mechanics of TOB, how it's a bit more punishing on death, and it's a bit, but the variety of Chambers I think is kind of unmatched. It's fun, you know, even if you've done like 1,000 KC, it's still exciting.
Right. Charmander, favorite update? Anything stand out?
I thought this would be pretty obvious. I thought everybody was just going to say Iron Man mode. That's definitely been my favorite update. I thought this was a dumb question, but I guess I was dumb. So mine would definitely be Iron Man mode, because I still have a main, and all I would do when I logged in onto my main was money make, because I wasn't into skilling, and so I would just log in every day and do Slayer and go bossing and make money and just never spend it. I don't know, it didn't feel pointless logging in, but it just, at times I asked myself, like, why am I making all this money? Because I don't like skilling or anything like that. And I just wasn't enjoying the game a ton. And then Iron Man mode, Iron Man came out, and I did what most people do, where you play your main and kind of AFK and Iron on the side and follow the Osiris guide, which wasn't out when I made mine. But, you know, you just play it on the side and things like that. And I remember I would be playing it, and I was still really into Slayer and didn't like skilling at all. And so I would do like one Slayer level, and then I would take what I call the skilling break, where I would force myself to not slay and go train like fishing or agility or something. And then at some point, like my viewpoint just changed, and I got really into skilling and started enjoying the game a ton more. I most likely wouldn't be playing if Iron Man mode didn't come out, because the way you play main efficiently with all the ults and stuff just doesn't really appeal to me. So I think Iron Man mode definitely saved the game for me, and I've met a ton of people through Iron Man mode, so it's an easy question for me.
Do you have something outside of Iron Man mode? Because I think because everyone here plays an Iron Man, and you kind of mentioned taking that for granted.
Has there been
Do you
something like
have an update?
raiding or Inferno or
Achievement
Zia?
diaries.
It would definitely
Library.
be Inferno, guys. You know I like PVM a bunch. I've really enjoyed getting
about
into
Library?
multiple
That's pretty
Inferno
fun.
tapes. And you know what? Zaya and Fossil Island are just my favorite updates.
Those are sick.
I think Zaya rune crafting is awesome. That's a joke. But actually, to be honest, I think Farming Guild is one of my favorite updates ever. I think contracts are, incredibly broken. But Farming Guild really got me into farming again. The place just looks wonderful. If you need a T-bow, you can just run around the back and grab one because it spawns on the ground.
Sick.
That place just has everything. So that would definitely be my favorite update.
How about you, ERBR, Oba?
So my this might be an unpopular opinion, but I like Fossil Island with Herbivore and Volcano Mine. So yeah, I've been
yeah, okay.
You did
Herbivore.
200 million Hunter, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
You're one of the first,
Yeah,
weren't you?
so you really like them.
yeah, me and Jimmy.
Next?
Anyways,
Content-wise, Chambers of Xeric, but outside of that, stuff like resizable mode, like turning the camera with a middle mouse, even though that's been ages. That's sort of my favorite kind of updates.
Like quality of life
It's like-
shit?
Yeah, literally quality of life,
you
not
mean
buffs or
real
anything.
quality of life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been any quality of life updates that have upset you or annoyed you, or you haven't liked, or have you liked all of them?
I don't like stuff like clicking the special attack orb. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
That's one I really like, but it's a bit easy scheme. But yeah. For me, for my favorite update since the release, would easily be the Inferno. I think the Inferno is sick. I love the Inferno. It's the first thing where you're actually challenged and you have to be skilled to be able to obtain a piece of content or unlock a best in slot item, which I think is awesome. I'd love more challenges in RuneScape like that. But yeah, obviously Iron Man, Chambers of Xeric, Inferno. Those are my top three, but Inferno's by far number one for me. Alrighty.
Since we mentioned quality of life, do you guys think it's quality of life to change birdhouses and everything to left click? Do you think that's an actual quality of life update?
I think anything that's on RuneLight already should probably be available to everyone.
It's like left clicking an empty spot to place
Yeah.
the birdhouse. is what
So
they're
instead of
proposing.
clicking the birdhouse and then clicking the spot, now you just click the spot. Do you think that's quality of life?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just curious.
probably.
I sort of like clicking the spot and clicking the seeds as quick as possible. It's sort of fun. But
Yeah, I feel like it's just another really thin layer of if you're a better player, you can just do it faster.
I think RuneLight can do quality of life a lot better than Jagex can. So, with things like left-clicking birdhouses on RuneLight, I don't even know if is that on the main game yet? Is that on the vanilla client? Probably
no.
not.
No.
Yeah.
Right click empty.
Yeah, I think RuneLight does quality of life a lot better than the actual developers of the game.
And left click contract from Jane.
Yeah,
That's the newest one. That's the big one.
yeah, that's
Part
nice.
of what makes RuneLight's quality of life so good is it's all toggleable. You just set it the way you want it, and that's why Jagex really needs to develop a client, because they don't really have that much space to add a million toggles for people to customize that left click stuff and kind of optimize it for them.
In their small
Is it-
setting tab, yeah. There's only so much stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. What integrity changes need to happen? So we talk about integrity changes a lot. What do we need to see happen? Personally, I would say a library is a must. Library has to change for rune crafting for Iron Man. It's just really stupid that the most efficient way to train the rune crafting is without crafting runes. And It's just was never polled to be the
That
best
is
or anything like that. It's really silly. I think a lot of libraries at the top in terms of Iron Man mode. And
I think contracts.
oh yeah, contracts obviously. That ruined farming and
Contracts
herblore.
is the library. Contracts
The
have made
bullet thing.
farming to the point where you just always farm over 200 mil XP. Like how ridiculous is that? That
not
like
good.
if you just farm like the best of the best stuff, you go over 200 mil farming XP. That should never be the case.
How would you? Okay, I think we should probably suggest how we would nerf these things as well. So, do you want to go over how library and contract should be nerfed, in your opinion, Charmander?
Yeah,
I know you want those to change.
Yeah, so all you have to do for a library, they talked about it on a recent not recent, but a Q&A a little bit ago, is just make it so that the Zaya library books can't interact with magical inboxes or magic inboxes, whatever they're called, to bank them. That's really what makes the method so dumb, is that you can just bank them and then come back at one time and just return them all in one go. I think it's a perfectly fine method for like UIM and even Zayalock Snowflake accounts, because I know that's a pretty popular one to do. Because it's still a viable rune crafting method without being the absolute best. Because right now, like, you get the passive hunter from the inboxes, and then you also get the rune crafting XP from doing library. So right now, nothing else can even contest. So just make it so books can't interact with inboxes. For contracts, I think one of two changes, where you either make it so pre-planting doesn't work, or you make it so that the reward you get is based off what you had to plant, and then you can make it so pre-planting works. You could realistically do both and they would be fine, but I think those are what most of the people have suggested.
I just changed it. One sec. I just changed the server region where it's located. So I think I might have cut off people. You there? Because you sounded a bit laggy to me,
Oh.
so I just changed it. Okay. Sorry.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah, no, you sound a bit laggy, so I just changed the server region where the server's hosted.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
at one bar until you changed it.
Yeah, I just
so.
changed it now, so I think that's a bit better. Alright,
Cool.
next. Integrity
Yeah,
changes.
what do you guys think about contracts? Do you
Yeah,
have any
change.
other changes? Because this is something that they should need to change ASAP. So
I'd like it, like the whole sort of contract system changed. Like, I don't know to what, but it doesn't have to be like hard, medium, easy. It can be like a completely different system of I don't know what, but I'm sure they could think of something good.
So you don't like it being like farming Slayer, essentially?
I don't like how it just gives you a stupid amount of herbal XP and like too many fruit trees and stuff.
I think they need to change pre-planting, obviously. That's been said. They said they will do that, and well, actually, no, they haven't said they will do that, but it's been like talked about a lot, hasn't it? And they also need to change, in my opinion. They need to scale things. Like a redwood tree should not be giving the same rewards as planting a snapdragon. Like if you, the things need to scale. Like fruit trees need to get more rewards than herbs and stuff like that.
No, and I think what they should do is get rid of the pre-planting aspect, because it doesn't make sense with the whole crop rotation thing. But then also letting you skip contracts. I think once they've got like a good system where you could get white lily seeds, so you're never going to get soft locked. They could also kind of they could get rid of your ability to like skip down through contracts. It's like half of contracts is just skipping down to easy, and then throwing some nonsense and then starting over again.
Right.
And it just seems weird.
Yeah.
You get assigned to do something and you just always skip it.
Yeah, so what if you just couldn't skip? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. So like you get rid of pre-planting and also make it so you can't skip, but you need to do it after the seed vault's in play, so people could actually still do that. But it would really slow down the rate you could do contracts and kind of fit the theme more.
Yeah, I
with,
would like that actually.
The guild.
Yeah, it would also make it a lot less of like an hourly. Like if you got a redwood
Yeah,
contract,
for
you just
sure.
wouldn't
Like
have to
once a
worry
day.
about contracts.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
If they were to
And
do
sometimes-
something, I was gonna say,
Go
if
ahead.
they were to do something like that and make it so you can't skip, they could even increase the rewards from the seed packs, because you'd be doing like
Yeah.
one a day instead of like 8.
Yeah, you could make like easy, medium, hard just give like scaling seeds, because if you pick hard, then you have the chance of getting a redwood tree, say, and then you can't do a contract for 3 days. So make it like a risk versus reward system, where if you want to risk getting a redwood, you get a better reward.
You should get a sick reward for a redwood tree. Right now, you get the
Yeah,
same as like a snapdragon.
Exactly.
It's just
You get the
sick.
same as a white lily. That takes like 20 minutes to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just makes no sense.
So nerf contracts, nerf library.
Yeah.
What else? Any ideas?
That's all I
No,
had.
nothing else.
Maybe.
You guys
Oh.
happy with the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Well, the integrity update I'd like to see is Jagex. I really want them to basically buy out RuneLight and turn it into like an in-house client, and then just ban all clients. Because I think it's wrong right now that people can just make different clients that have really broken features that go by totally unpolled,
Right.
and we're just like okay with that. And I think the way for Jagex to fix it is they need to just have a really good client and then just ban all clients that use anything else. It'd probably help them a lot with botting too, because just like right now they don't know, is this someone's weird third-party client or is this person botting?
Yeah, I mean, the PK clients that have come out are really unfair. I don't know if you guys ever played Deadman mode, but if you're fighting someone...
I've seen photos, yeah.
Oh my god, it's stupid. Like, you'll be running around the GE or something, and there's like trees everywhere, and the client will like automatically calculate the safe spot, and they'll just stand at the safe spot and attack you, and you can't hit them back. And it just automatically calculates for where they should stand and things like that, using the like line of sight tool.
There was some like plugin or something that like automatically changed your praise and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's like
Like, that was
basically
going
a
around.
bot though. That's not. Yeah.
That's that was a modified RuneLight though. Like,
Yeah, but
and it would not be hard to add those features.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
they need to
and
sort out
that's-
clients for sure.
Yeah, and it's just they've been kind of like too lazy to like build out their own client and invest the time in that, and we just all sorts of just broken stuff kind of exists because of that. It's like definitely an integrity thing that should get fixed.
I don't understand how the whole legal and programming side works, but I imagine that Jagex could just like take ownership of RuneLight and say it's our game, our client. Thanks for making it for us. Wouldn't they be able to just like nab it? 'Cause
I don't think so.
Isn't it like open source or whatever?
Yeah, but you
they-
can't
I
just
don't
take
think-
it.
But
They can shut it down, they can't take it.
It'd technically be like a paid service though if you have to pay for RuneScape membership. I doubt you can just take someone's
Yeah.
It would
client
be like
and-
trying to get like a photo taken off the internet. Like, so many people have a copy of it and everything. Like,
Yeah,
at
that's
this
right.
point, it's going to do nothing.
It would just make it harder for new people to get it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I have an interesting thing to, while we're on the topic of integrity. I knew there was something integrity related I was forgetting. And it was like tile markers. I've seen some discussions come up about tile markers and how they've made things like PVM a lot easier. Specifically where you can like, the one that comes to mind first is Inferno marking where you're supposed to stand. And of course people used to drop vials and stuff for that. I think I've never done Inferno, but now you can just mark it client side. And then also people saying, having an indicator showing you like where you're going after your movement is done. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it. I've never
and
used
it works
though.
with like animation stalls, like the little
Yeah.
square showing you where you're going. Like, you can be like animation stalled and it will disappear, so you like know when your character is there.
Yeah, like at
Yeah.
the
Like realistically, you just wouldn't know that.
like the whirlpool
Yeah,
at
it makes
bar
DH
fishing.
chambers.
It shows you where to stand.
It's like, what's it called? It's like 1 to 0 melee hand, like when you're hitting the
Yeah.
Olm hand with the
Yeah,
like
the
a wall or
DH
something.
method of all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Like when the square disappears, that's like when you click, and it
Mhm.
it removes like all the sort of like skill in that method.
Oh, that's
Just
pretty
makes it
silly.
easier.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. 'Cause
Yeah.
it'd show you the tick that you arrive. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
Ari
and it
said in
makes it
chat,
really
go
hard.
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's like if you look at Wooks' old video, I mean, he was like flicking prayers and stuff to track where he was with the animation stall, because your character just gets super out of whack when you do that method. Like, you'll be nowhere near where the game actually thinks you are, and with tile markers, you just don't even look at your character anymore,
Yeah. Okay.
and it makes a hard method brain dead.
Look, I think the tile markers, like if you just want to mark a certain tile, I think that's fine. Like having to drop a vial is not particularly like a good feature or like a way to play the game. But I think where it's tracking where your character currently is, I think that's pretty dumb. That shouldn't be allowed, I don't think. Because, like, as Nex said, with the Chambers of Xeric rating with Ohm, if you know exactly where your character is at all times, it takes all the skill out of it.
Yeah, and Ari is saying, Ari, however you say that, is saying, like, it doesn't matter because a good player is going to know where to go. But, like, if I've never done a raid before, I can just mark tiles and I'm clueless. And now that's one less thing I have to worry about is learning that. Because now I can
also
just
don't
do well.
mean-
That is not a valid
I
argument.
don't mean the 4-1 thing. Like, I mean the, like,
Yeah,
1 to 0, whatever.
It's the 8-tick mall cycle.
Yeah, that.
Like, keeping you up to date with where your character actually is in game. Yeah. Because, I mean, like, for example, when you run, right, you just move two tiles in one tick, but there's actually an animation in between. Whereas you're there immediately the tick after, as far as RuneScape's concerned. So, like, keeping up to, like, it's like removes all the animations from RuneScape. Removes a lot of skill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something I've seen come up a lot recently. Just wondered what you
Where have you
guys
seen
thought
that?
about it.
Streams or Reddit or what?
Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. Reddit would never care about something making something easier.
Fair enough. Okay, I think we should move on.
Yeah.
Okay, on the topic of updates, just before we move on, what would you personally like to see? So we talked about what we think should be nerfed and what's affecting RuneScape right now, and what our favorite has been. Mason, would you like to start?
Yeah. So like my really niche update that I want to see is a change to the way sounds work in game. Like I'd like a lot more control to be able to work with sounds because they can be a really cool feature for like, you know, listening to what your character's doing and kind of help the engagement. But the way it's designed right now, you just get a bunch of like awful sounds mixed in with the useful sounds, and there's no way to like separate it out.
Right.
And it's like a feature that doesn't change the game at all, but really would make that aspect more engaging.
I saw Charmander complaining about sounds one time on Twitter. So I guess Charmander would like that as well.
He got fishing when the fishing spot moves. There's like a sound associated with it now. Thank you, Charmander.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
thanks,
added.
For adding that.
Best, man.
That's epic.
Now I'm able to AFK Monkfisher work. now that I got that added, so.
No, but
Thank you, man.
But even with that, you still have to. You hear everybody drop their fishing thing, and you hear everybody else fishing and woodcutting and mining. So you can't really use sounds to like tell if your character's doing it. You just know somebody's doing it.
Right.
And it's just like why?
Well, the Redwoods one, it makes a sound when you chop the tree, or like.
Yeah.
No, it makes a sound when like it depletes or whatever it does.
Falls. Yeah.
Falls. Yeah. So like that's even if there's multiple people cutting, like that one's pretty useful. But trying to use add like Zaya rune crafting to know when you're done, like mining or something, you can just hear everyone mining, so it doesn't help at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a deplete sound on that too, but like to get these deplete sounds, you have to deal with like a bunch of other people's sounds, and it just makes no sense. Like, and there's just so many places sounds could be really useful and enjoyable in the game.
Like where?
Well, with like a lot of PVM, it would help you know kind of what tick you're on in the cycle.
Yeah,
but
like,
there's just like really gross squeaky noises and whatnot.
What if they replace the tile indicator markers with sounds? So you could use sounds to indicate when you've finished moving to a tile. I know sounds are like in sync with RuneScape ticks as well, so they could make that work. Like,
yeah, there's a cool metronome that helps with that. Like
the RuneLite metronome.
But a lot of game sounds are like really, they're always on the tick. And it makes it really nice for like PVM, but then there's just a bunch of other sounds like if you just want to hear your whip sound, you also have to hear every monster's weird like growling sound and squeaking noises, and there's just like a bunch of awful audio.
Yeah, like Soda and Theater of Blood in particular, that's awful. And like Nihilocus, oh my god, that room sucks. Like some rooms are useful and some rooms just like I don't know, it's not good for the ears.
Yeah, and it's like a quality of life. Doesn't really buff anything in the game. Would take them some time to do, but would make it way more enjoyable.
That'd be nice.
I think you would be pretty hard pressed to find someone who just plays with sounds on all the time. because
Yep.
of how annoying they are.
I know Marianne used to play RuneScape with sounds on 24/7. My wife that I met on RuneScape.
Anyways,
Right.
Anyway,
Heard you played RuneScape on honeymoon.
so Charmander, what update would you like to see?
absolutely no updates, to be honest. Just stop updating the game. Can I say that?
You could just say nerfs. I know you want some nerfs to happen.
I think we get way too many updates.
Yeah, like some PvP updates instead of skilling and PVM would be good.
I would like some updates I would like to see are to hide the poll results or just delete the entire polling system because it's outdated and doesn't work. That's my favorite update.
To remove a lot of shit from the game. How about Zero and Fossil Island while you're at it? Actually, not Fossil Island because ELBL likes it, so we'll keep Fossil
like-
Island.
Fossil Island is fine. It's just like they're adding so many hourlies and shit that you have to like just feel almost forced to do.
I'm not okay with swimming. I think swimming's a bit too strong. It was not polled at the rate it is. It was polled at 30k and 110k, and it's just not the rates that they said it would be. Same with Volcanic
That's like an
Mine.
individual swimming problem.
No, but also
like
like Volcanic Mine, it's just the rates aren't what they said they would be. Like if they said Volcanic Mine would be 80 to 82,000 exactly. It's just, and they said it'd be engaging, and if you went you wouldn't receive rewards if you AFK'd. Well, it's just 4 lots of AFKing for 1.5 minutes.
I have tons of pictures of Jack falling in lava from not paying attention.
Alright, man. But like you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't what was polled, and it's not what was put into the game, and it's just Fossil Island was fucked on release. Like Herbivore was shitty on release. We had to we sort of QA'd Herbivore ourselves in Erudite CC. We just sort of mapped all the routes, then worked out which ones weren't worth using, and then we sent in massive reports and how to fix Herbivore. And so they changed it to what it is like right now. But a lot of Fossil Island content was awful on release and still is awful. Like swimming's not fair in my opinion. Should be changed. I'm mainly salty because I did 200 mil thieving before swimming came out, so I couldn't use it. But swimming is not what was polled, and it's way too OP. And I'm not happy with Volcanic Mine being as strong as it is either. I think they should turn down the XP and add more rewards. Like they could introduce like Iron Man smithing into VM. I'd not be opposed to that, and lower the mining rate or something. I don't know. VM needs to change.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, I think the VM shop needs to change, and maybe the way VM works as well needs to be not AFK.
And just delete Zaya Library and Zaya Rune Crafting both. Just delete Zaya.
Next, are there any updates you'd like to see?
Something to make like pure essence easier to obtain. Whether it's something like Didz's rune crafting suggestion or I don't know, some other means. Be nice.
Do you mean
So
like
that-
rather than just
Yeah,
make it
pure.
easier up to obtain, like even if you had unlimited pure essence right now, it's not worth using. Do you mean like also changing it so it's worth using?
Oh, and nerf library.
right.
Yeah.
'Cause
just
even if
assuming
I-
library nerf.
Even if I had 100 million essence, it's not worth much if I can just do library for a
Yeah.
higher rate. Yeah.
And then you can ZMI or do lavas or like I don't know, whatever else you want.
Well, that's what was good about Diz's method, is it also just kind of got back up to that point where mining the essence wasn't like a big punishment on the overall rate. You were pretty competitive with your time.
Yeah. It was nice.
ERBR, is there anything you'd like to see added to RuneScape?
I'd like to see a new way to transmitting, I think. As the current one is pretty boring. Buying gold ores from BF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Iron Man smithing needs to change for sure. Way too much shopscape.
Yeah, that's
Um,
about it.
Okay, and one thing I would like to see is more Australian worlds. We have the
Yes, please.
singular Australian total level world, which is pretty sick, world 91, always used by everyone. And then I've got the 4 to hop between that, World Wars, so more Australian worlds would be really good. Okay, let's move on. Updates talked about. What are your personal favorites? So, we're talking about Twitters, content creators, memes, favorite JMods. Charmander, who are your personal favorites in the community, the RuneScape community?
My personal favorite Twitter would be Mars because he likes everything I tweet
That's not
before
fair.
even I can like it. So Mars, to be honest, I think Glad's going after Joshua the Great is pretty funny. That's probably one of my favorites right now. so probably Glads and Mars right now. Favorite content creators? To be honest, I don't really watch a lot of RuneScape stuff. It's a pretty boring game to watch somebody else play.
Surely you watch Swampoletics at least.
Yeah. Settled's videos are pretty good. That's probably the only like YouTube series that I watch on release. Oh yeah, Mr. Mammal's Iron Man progress videos are super epic. I watch all of those from start to finish. Favorite memes? I don't really know any old school memes because I don't go on that Reddit.
Any copy
I think
pastors that you launch in the
Joshua
freak
the
show?
Great is probably my favorite meme.
Right, fair enough.
And then anything Simon the Tapir says
Yeah,
that I can just
guy,
copy paste without reading. That's a
he's-
pretty funny meme.
He's also mentally deficient, but yeah.
And then my favorite JMod, probably G and Acorn.
Just because they're female?
No, dude, I think they're just really awesome JMods.
Just independent, strong women, yeah. Respected.
Yeah, they do their job really well.
Nice.
Acorn, if you're listening, could you follow me back on Twitter? Thank you.
And join the Olympus Discord. Thanks, Acorn.
Yep.
Everyone else is there, you're not. Anyway, next. What are your personal favorites?
Favorite Twitters, yeah, like people who tweet funny shit, like Glads, Dan S, Dumbfounded, that sort of vein of person. Petruski, he's pretty funny because he's in the chat. Content creators, I don't really watch much YouTube, but I'll watch like just ramble videos, like I don't know, like Alkin's ramble video. I watched that. Favorite memes, I'm only a virgin in the sense of intercourse. Those are probably the best one there is.
Memes. They're good.
Favorite JMod, Mod Maz. I love everything she makes.
Yeah,
You love
alright.
Fossil Island?
Yeah, I
Charmander,
love swimming.
I thought you'd
I
love
think
Mod Maz as
Fossil
well.
Island rocks. Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah, and
think
Jack.
Fossil
I
Island
love
is-
Jack. Progress video 97, that was sick. That was really good.
I liked it when he made the Ultimate Iron Man videos and then just stopped. I like
See,
how
but-
consistent he is. That's probably what I enjoy the most.
Urba,
Classic Ultimate Iron Man.
what are your favorites? Twitters, content creators? Any memes
My
that you
favorite Twitter is maybe Temp. He's a funny dude.
like? I think Temp is a lot
favorite-
funnier on mic than Twitter allows.
Yeah,
because Temp
yes.
is really fun to talk to.
Favorite content creator, I'll just say the Swampoletics.
Yeah.
Favorite meme, 73 of course.
Ah, yes.
That's a
And
classic.
Jmood is Modash, I guess.
Modash, nice. Mason?
Yeah. So like I don't have a Twitter, so I guess Olympus CC is my favorite Twitter.
That is a good Twitter, I must say. Olympus CC, I'll
Yeah,
put
it's
in the
pretty
chat.
good.
Make sure you follow it. Good Twitter.
hmm As far as content creators go, I mean I like a ton of them. I've been really liking watching other people do these area restricted accounts. Not that I would do it. Like there's a guy, Avra, who's got this Wildy Ultimate Iron Man, and I'm just kind of waiting for him to lose all of his stuff. So I think that's been really cool, and I like how much time the RuneScape community's put into editing. So I think like Guns Chili's influence on the overall community, like even if like he's not doing a ton of videos himself now, but his influence on the community to get everybody to like edit their stuff. It's like what Charmander said is like the game's really boring to watch. Like it's a grindy game. Watching people grind is even less exciting. But Guns Chili and people like that who raised the bar in terms of editing, and now you see people like Swampoletics just putting a ton of time into creating good storylines and actually making content that isn't just progress and grind. It's super good.
People who are good at masking how boring RuneScape is, you mean?
Well,
Yeah,
you say RuneScape's
yeah.
boring. I don't think that's fair. Like, when the Inferno's out, that was the most excited I'd really ever been about playing a
Yeah.
video game. The Inferno on release, that was so fun to watch. Like 30,000 viewer streams. Like,
And then
Yeah,
they would
I guess-
die, and the next stream would just
It's-
slowly go back up to 30,000.
it's not that RuneScape is an inherently boring game. Like, yeah, playing long term is boring. Sure, if you want to watch someone fish for 30 hours, that's not exciting. But if you add a new piece of content like Deadman mode on release, that is so fun to watch. They just have to be innovative with
Yeah.
updates. If they just add new
Mhm.
shit, make it new, like, I don't know, make a dead man mode locked Mauritania mode, and then everyone plays in Mauritania and they just kill each other. That would be so fun
That's
to
actually
watch.
such a good idea.
Yes, like
Oh yeah,
they
big
just have
pog.
to be creative, and it's a fun game to watch. It really is. It's fun, exciting, engaging. They just need to add more shit to it. Need to be new updates and new modes.
Well,
Come really
yeah.
I don't know
stale.
if we need new updates.
Well, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, like
But that's-
competitions and like dead man mode, LMS sort of thing. Like, they just need to put more time into that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, it would be good.
But sorry to hijack that, Mason. Do you want to finish with your
No, you're good.
favorite memes, favorite J-mod?
Oh,
Do you have a meme that
so
you
like
like?
I don't really know. I don't really know what memes are. Like, but
Good
favorite
for them.
Jmon is probably Kieran.
Kieran?
Like
Yeah.
I actually, I really like Kieran's like entrance and his like backstory and how much he cares about the game. Like I watched Rune Shark's videos and whatnot that had Kieran, and he's kind of just been really involved with the game for a while. And him on Q&As, like he has a lot of what Ash has, where you can just see someone who like actually cares a lot about the game and enjoys it from like a viability standpoint. And he's the guy who brought in the Inferno and stuff, so I think he can bring a lot of really cool elements.
Awesome. Okay, my personal favorite Twitter. Would probably have to be probably the Soulless Twitters. They're pretty fun to look at. Probably like Dumbfounded, and probably also including onto that like Dan S, those sort of people. Probably my favorite Twitters to read and look at. Like I haven't had a Twitter for a long time. When I want to catch up with Twitter, I just open up Alex's Twitter and just scroll through what his recent tweets are, because he interacts with everything, so I can stay up to date. And my favorite content creators. I was enjoying Swampoletics until about 3 videos ago, and now I think it's pretty boring because he's sort of milking it. But probably I'd say Settled would be my favorite, and aside from that, maybe like probably Jack, because he's my friend. I watch his videos. Otherwise, I don't think his videos are that exciting. It's just like a late game Iron Man. If you like that sort of stuff, it might be up your alley. But yeah, Jack and Settled probably. I like watching Wooks' streams when he's doing interesting things, like not Crack the Clue. That was incredibly boring. But when he's doing
yes.
interesting things, when he does interesting things, I like watching Wooks. Favorite memes.
Whoops.
Look, my favorite memes are probably what is copy and pasted in the Freak Show 20 hours a day. So probably just keeping up with the Freak Show right now.
When you open up Discord with 60 notifications every day.
No, not just 60. I've woken up to like 2,000 messages that I've just missed. It's just like, all right, nice guys. So yeah, probably copy pasting shit in the Freak Show is a fun meme. Favorite J mod. So I just opened up the list of J mods. Nobody stands out to me right now as my favorite. Probably Kieran, because I know. Okay, it's probably always been Kieran because he's the most proactive and fixes things immediately. As soon as he raids, he adds like rating quality of life, and he's proactive with what he does, and he knows his shit as well. My favorite J mod would have been Ash in 2015, 2016, but Ash is really condescending now, and he just talks as if you don't know what you're talking about, and he also just dismisses your opinion without having a proper discussion. So Ash, I like that Ash is very technical and knows his shit, but he's just massive cunt on Twitter and things like that. Like, he's just not a friendly person to talk to anymore. You can't actually have productive conversations with him either, which has really ruined my interaction with Ash, because I would tweet him like once a week and he would be friendly and nice, but since 2016, 2017, he's been really condescending and like high and mighty, and I don't like that at all. And I'd say probably I like Sween's personality. Sween's a fun J mod, and I don't know, I've named a lot, but yeah, probably Sween and maybe Weath, because he perms all the cheaters. Those mods are awesome. Okay. Moving on. What are your predictions for changes to the meta in 2019? So, to add on to this, some talking points would be: are you avoiding training any skills because you expect them to be devalued? So, predictions for changes to the meta. So they just released Kebble Slowlands, and with that came aerial fishing, and nobody's doing it. So with Fossil Island, nobody did like volcanic mine or swimming. So they just buffed it until you had to do it. So I expect aerial fishing to become the meta in like 6 months when Maz has a look at the numbers and nobody's doing aerial fishing. And then they just make aerial fishing a must-do activity. I expect that to happen. So yeah, probably avoid fishing right now, even though I'm fishing in game. It's probably not great, I reckon.
In terms of like fishing EHP, that crystal harpoon that comes out is gonna make 2-tick swordfish really good.
Right, yeah. So I think fishing is not a great skill right now.
Yeah. Avoid fishing.
I think agility will change as well. I think Perf, they would just have to add a higher tier course, even if high level players don't like it. I expect that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they even talked about an agility course there.
Yeah, but I think they were like when Aiza was there, he was lowballing the numbers and trying to make people happy. One thing that Aiza did when he was a mod is he's talked a lot of shit that never actually happened or he never planned to do. For example, when Farming Guild was coming out, every week we messaged him like, "Hey Aiza, make sure to not make Snapegrass seeds too easy to get, because it's really gonna ruin Iron Man, Herblore, and farming." Aiza's response would be, "Don't worry, it's well balanced. Snapegrass seeds won't ruin Iron Man." And now I get 0 times Snapegrass with insane amounts of farming XP. And I've got like I've at least harvested at least 5,000 Snapegrass, and I've got like another 1,000 seeds because it's just not balanced properly at all. And anyway,
well, it's because they suck at balancing it to high level players. Like, I don't think they expected people to grind contracts as hard as they do.
I mean,
you don't get a ton of those.
They have to, though.
Unless you do.
They really have
no,
to
they need
balance
to.
it. Yeah.
But they just don't have the capability. Like, their team is a bunch of casuals, and so it's super balanced for casuals. The rate you get them isn't that amazing. You know, if you're doing regular farm runs and you're just doing contracts without ever skipping,
right?
You can't actually sustain it.
No,
but if you do efficient contracts, then
I'm
you
a
have just
nerd,
a lifetime
so
supply.
It's real broken.
Yeah.
But yeah. Other changes, maybe Iron Man in particular, I expect some sort of boss to drop maybe like redwood logs or magic logs, and then maybe like fire bonding at the G might become meta. Like Vork at the V8 or whatever might drop a lot of crafting, and I expect logs to appear somewhere at some point, so I'm sort of saving some fire making. Maybe my last 100 mil I can do at something not Wintertot. Hopefully Wintertot will no longer be meta. But yeah, as far as predicting changes, I'd say agility, fishing, or runecrafting I expect to change, and smithing will. Rest, like maybe hunter and fishing with aerial, but yeah, and so some farming nerfs. That's what I expect to happen. Charmander?
I think the next skill that'll probably get a big change is smithing, because lately they have been seeming, however you word that, to go after the shopman mode type skills.
Yeah.
And I think Slayer is drastically worse than crafting ever was. The fact that there's just no other option for Slayer other than hopping and buying gold ore. Like, at least with crafting you had tons of different methods, but Slayer is just hop.
You keep saying Slayer, you mean smithing. I just want to...
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing Slayer.
You're right.
I mean smithing. Smithing is just hop by. And I think that's super boring. Definitely the least enjoyable skill in the game on Iron Man mode. So I think trying to avoid training that right now, especially because it's so expensive, just steering away from it. I think farming and herblore obviously are gonna get slower, but that just means that you should just abuse it as much as you can right now. I think agility with Perf is easy. And I think we'll probably have rune span, like old school versions of rune span, right? You can't just name it rune span, but it's just going to be rune span with a different name.
Yep.
We should have that in probably like under a year and a half, I'd say.
Yep, I would say potentially at the end of the year, because they're just gonna argue, well, you can do 150k an hour at the ZMI. Actually, this guy just got 200k last week. So what's 70k AFK? That's fine, right?
And with all the advice that they've been taking from Reddit lately, it's just an astonishing, like, the weight at which they take what Reddit says is just incredible to me.
They fucking love Reddit.
Reddit is heavily in favor of RuneSpan. So I definitely expect it to come. So I'm just trying to minimally train runecrafting and smithing, I think, are the biggest ones.
Yeah.
For speaking just in terms of Iron Man mode, of course.
Mason?
Yeah, because, well, yeah, I mean, the obvious one's probably agility. I think with like Werewolf Course and Brimhaven and swimming and stuff, they've got really high rates that they're going to say, like, people can get this, and then it'll be a rooftop that has those kind of rates instead. So it'll be like, just clicking around in a circle. I think that it's going to get devalued. And I think there's going to be a lot of like quality of life to smithing and hopefully runecrafting, but I don't actually think they're going to like beat what's currently there. They're just going to add like better ways to get it. Like, and same with your thing with the logs. Like, I really hope this new skilling boss, like, they're coming out with it. It would be a good place to add a bunch of redwood logs. It's like, and then just like let Iron Men do shit like line fire making and whatnot. It's like, I'm hoping that you gather a lot of those kind of supplies and like gold ore from the skilling boss in a way that cuts down on like the shopman mode and the tot stuff. But I don't know if it's going to devalue it much, because like it's hard to get that much faster than Winter Todd, like unless the logs are 0 time. And like smithing, you buy the gold ore so fast, like even if they make a better way to get gold ore into the game, I just don't know if it gets much faster than it is now.
I think another thing that's causing all the skills like to be changed at this rate is that they think it's okay to add these AFK methods that are just like a little bit slower, that are just completely AFK, and they think that's fine because you can have like layers, right, where you have runecrafting and you can do Zaya AFK but low XP an hour, or lavas or ZMI, but adding these things to the casuals, things like lavas and stuff basically just don't exist, right? So you're not adding another layer, you're just giving them a way to train runecrafting essentially at a really easy rate. And I think that's the way they view these things. So if you're gonna take advice from Reddit, you need to look at it from Reddit's perspective, which is not, oh, I have all these awesome viable alternatives for mining, like Motherlode Mine and Granite and Gem Rocks and things. Let's add Volcanic Mine, right? That's AFK but less than Granite. And then to the casuals, Granite doesn't exist, so now you just added an AFK easy way for all the casuals to get their mining up. And I think that's a really flawed way of thinking, and every skill is just going to end up getting devalued at some point because of that.
I really wish I had the numbers with me, but there was a data stream where Matt K showed the numbers for 99 since Iron Man mode release, and then a year after Zaya, and the firemaking numbers were like something like 20 people had 99 firemaking or something, which is a really low number, and then like thousands the next year, because it's like they've completely changed the skill, and as well as mains, not just Iron Man. Like the Winter Top was so bad for the game. Winter Top is probably the worst update it's probably ever been added in terms of health of the game. It's just ruined Iron Man start. You just start an Iron Man and you head to Winter Top. Like it's stupid. It's just Winter Top was awful. Have to stop these.
There was
like,
a point where fire making was rarer than 99 RC, just because everybody hated that skill.
Yeah.
Like if you looked at like the number of 99s, and then now it's the most common.
But Winter Top wasn't the
one.
fix. Like Winter Top was not an appropriate fix. Like there was something wrong with firemaking, but like Winter Top was not the solution. It's just stupid. I was AFK. But yeah. Mason, do you want to answer the question? What are your predictions for changes to the meta?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my prediction to the meta was just gonna be that our agility there's like a rooftop course that's balanced around like Brimhaven and Werewolf rates. And then there's just a lot of quality of life just ends up dumping a lot of skilling resources with their new skilling boss that comes out, because I think they're gonna because the Elf City has that like gathering boss thing, and so I think for them it's going to be a great place for them to just dump a bunch of like gold ore and logs and like skilling resources and be like, it's a skilling boss, it should drop resources.
Yeah.
And it's, it's low XP an hour to kill it, so it's fine. Then it drops insane resources.
Yeah. It's shitty mining XP an hour. but it's a fuck ton of gold ore and everything else. So I just think gathering a lot of that kind of stuff will be a lot faster, and so it might make things like birdhouses better because it drops a lot of logs, or smithing faster because it gives you a bunch of ore and stuff like that.
Right. Urba, do you have any predictions for changes to the meta this year?
Just that smithing, maybe, I guess.
Smithing changes?
Smithing and RC.
Hopefully.
I hope. Yeah, hopefully. Maybe construction too.
Construction would be
That's
good.
maybe in 2020.
Yeah, construction's a good one.
There was talk of contracts for construction, which would thematically make sense, right? Like, can you go build like a ladder or whatever? Time to build a table. Yeah.
It is pretty crazy that construction has never gotten like another way to train it besides just build, tear down.
Contracts would be awesome for construction, I think.
It would be cool too if it dropped the amount of planks you need and how much of just like a pure money sink it is, but then also cut the rate down. Because that's kind of what they talked about when they're talking about those updates, is giving you more XP per plank, but making it a lot slower by making you build specific things, or like, furnish an NPC's house or build a wall.
Right.
Build the wall.
Next. Predictions.
I'm just guessing fishing's gonna be devalued as well as agility, so barb is gonna be like just not the best thing to do anymore. So I'd avoid that. That's pretty much it. And then basically what everyone else touched on.
Okay, let's move on from updates. Sorry.
Well, why do you think fishing is going to get devalued? Do you think they're going to do the aerial fishing thing?
The
okay.
harpoon is going to make like 2-tick swordfish like over 130k.
And then you can just zone your strength anyway.
Yeah, you can zone your strength, and the new agility course is probably going to up agility XP. So
yeah,
gonna be a mess.
Well, and then if the crystal harpoon bumps up fishing rates, then they might feel comfortable upping aerial fishing to be more competitive with that, to bring people into it if it's dead content.
I don't think they're gonna touch aerial fishing again.
Yeah, I think it depends, because I feel like they want it to be something people do, but maybe not.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, it's been an hour. Let's move on from updates to the real questions.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys use mobile for, and what are the best activities to do on mobile in your opinion? So I'll start. Mobile, I do a lot of Nightmare Zone. I have a lot of attack experience and a lot of strength experience, because there is a really broken feature in the game that should be nerfed, Nightmare Zone. Feel free to nerf it. I'm finished with it now.
This is mobile as in on your phone, right? Not the app you're talking about. Okay.
Right. So
I
So I use Chrome Remote Desktop. That's not the app. I use I do Zone on my computer, but I connect to my computer from my phone, just so, because like I have an iPhone, and if I close the app or whatever, it like logs me out or something like that. It's just really, it doesn't work properly. So you have like 5-minute AFK or something, and you sort of have to like leave the app open even, I think, for iPhone. So I use Chrome Remote for Nightmare Zone. And aside from that, I've started to do Crown Bonds on my phone. I also use Chrome Remote for that, just because it's a bit easier and I'm used to it, I think. And you can like close the app and come back in 2 minutes and you'll have a full inventory of Crown Bonds. So I do Crown Bonds on my phone, do Zone, and I'm starting to do a little bit of Redwoods with the official app, because the app is really good for Redwoods, because you just tap once every 5 minutes and it's easy to log in on the app as well. You just click login and you don't have to type in your password or anything. So I do mainly... Oh, and another thing that I don't do yet, but I would highly recommend... Oh, actually, I did. I was out for a few hours the other day and I did some AFK barb. This frog is pissing me off. I was out for a few hours and I did some AFK barb, and there's like a feature to just turn your whole inventory red and you just tap things to drop them on the app.
Yeah.
So I used that for barb fishing, AFK barb, and that was really good. So yeah, I'd recommend main activities you do on your phone would be AFK barb, Redwoods, Zone, maybe Chrome Bonds if you're an Iron Man. Charmander?
I use mobile as in not the computer, for a lot of things because I have a job. So I'm at work 8 hours a day. Nightmare Zone is obviously the easiest one. I feel like tons of people know about, like using Chrome Remote Desktop to zone, tap once every 20 minutes and just get like free XP essentially. But I also have lately been using it for redwoods. It's really easy. I have an iPad at work, and so you can turn the sound up for redwoods so that you only hear it when you fell the tree. And I just keep one earphone in and keep my iPad cover closed. And then anytime I hear the noise, you just re-click and then AFK. And I have a job where you actually like have to do something, so I can't just straight play the game at work. I actually have to be involved and, you know, work with other people. So these methods where I can AFK for a few minutes at a time are really helpful. I mean, if you guys didn't know, I got that fishing sound added. So now you can do the same thing for fishing. If you want to do like anglerfish or something, just click, and when you hear the noise of the fishing spot move, just re-click and AFK. Really easy. I also use the official app for Redwoods, like Fraser said, is way better than Chrome Remote Desktop. And I also use the app to upkeep contracts and Hesperia work, because I think that's something that's pretty important. Just during my lunch break, I'll hop onto my phone and just go kill my Hesperia for the day, do my contracts, see if I get janed, I can plant a tree, things like that. So you can use mobile for a ton of stuff. That's mainly what I use it for. And Zaya Runecrafting, I actually did some the other day. Doing Bloods is a lot easier because you can just like click over the wall and run the whole way, but things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been using mobile like a ton because I work and I go to school, and even though I have a job kind of like Charmander's where I can't just like sit and grind RuneScape all day, like just being able to do little things on mobile, like I've been doing things like banking dense essence because I've been trying to like use it as a way to make maxing easier. It's like, you know, with a skill like runecrafting, it's just like a ton of hours, and I can just cut down on how many hours I have to do at home by just like getting a little bit of dense essence banked at work and stuff like that. And so it's really nice for, you know, letting me do other things. Like I'm not like a big post XP person, so I don't do like a ton of like zone and stuff on it. But like almost every skill has like an AFK way to train it that you can do pretty easily on mobile. And so it's just kind of like finding the thing that's best for me at the moment, you know, based on how much I have to interact with. But I've been using it a lot. Like half my playtime lately is on mobile.
It's awesome, isn't
Just
it?
to like add something onto what I said, there's a ton of things you guys can do on mobile if you use the on-screen keyboard to like keep shift permanently held down, and then use that in conjunction with RuneLight's like shift click config stuff. There's a bunch of stuff you can do where all you have to do is tap your screen. So for instance,
Mining.
I do
Iron ore, the bigger one.
Yeah, mining. I do it with Karambwans actually on Chrome Remote Desktop, because you can keep the construction cape in your inventory, and then have shift click to teleport you to your player-owned house. So you just tap your construction cape, go to your player-owned house, call the butler, tap the fairy ring, which you can make go to your last destination, the left click option with RuneLight also. So you just tap the fairy ring and then you're back at Karambwans. So things like that wouldn't be possible without like on-screen keyboard and shift config. You can get like pretty tricky with the stuff you can do on mobile with those features.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can even activate your like mouse keys through stuff like Chrome Remote Desktop, depending on what program you're using.
Yep.
And so there's a lot you can get away with that in terms of just like basically typing to skill.
Next, is there anything you use mobile for?
I do a decent amount of like RD on my phone. Like I just keep my phone in like portrait mode and then just like look down and tap RD. That's pretty nice. Aside from that, just like 5-tick Barb and Redwood. Yeah, the official app is easier.
Okay. And Urba, is there anything you do on mobile?
I do Redwoods on the app, and Chrome Remote I do NMC.
NMC, yeah. Good stuff. Okay. Fun question. would you like to see any new modes introduced? So I had a few suggestions before we like when I was planning this question, I thought maybe something like Hardcore Ultimate Iron Man, but that's been talked about a lot. So is Group Iron Man. But how about if they introduced an area restricted mode, like even if just mains for Mauritania or mains for Zia or something like that, or a Deadman mode for Mauritania or Deadman mode for Zia. I'm sure they could become a bit more creative with things like that, or just Iron Man mode on Zia or something. If they introduced like official modes, I'm sure a lot of people would play it. And so, are there any official modes you'd like to see introduced like that, and also would you play them at all? So we'll start with Mason.
Yeah, I love when they add new modes to the game. Like, it just adds kind of more variety of content for people and stuff. Like, I've been talking about for a while that I really want Group Iron Man mode, so you can just make a really sick 10 HP Iron Man with like a Devo and whatnot. But I'd also like them to do almost like kind of like with Deadman, but just that aren't like PK focused, but do just like temporary, separated out worlds, and they can do stuff with like Mortania and have like people rush TOB. They could do stuff like instance out like a chunk of the map, and then just like people race to like complete God Wars or whatever. I don't know. I think there's like a lot of like fun modes that they haven't explored and tried that would add just a lot of variety, especially like temporary things like Deadman mode that just kind of like or King of the Skill.
Like the next Deadman mode tournament could just be Zia locked and have raids accessible, and then like it'd be like the first clan to be able to do raids on Zia or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
that would be fun.
Stuff like Deadman mode and things would be fun, but you guys have to think for like take for instance a Mauritania locked, like a region locked Iron Man, like you said.
Yeah.
Settled has left Mauritania like 2, 3, 4 times now to do things that like allow him to do other things that he otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So if you make a Mauritania locked Iron Man account, like just no one is going to play that once they log on and realize like I don't know if this is true, but just take for instance like the best agility XP per hour you can get is 2k, but Settled can get 20k because he left just one time to go to Varrock and do something.
Right, but like one thing they do on Deadman is you'll start the season and you'll have 20 quests auto completed. They could do the same thing.
Yeah, so
just have a lot of
I think stuff like
or whatever.
Deadman mode, like you said, would be really awesome. But I think in terms of like region locked accounts, I think those would just be dead content. But like Deadman mode on Mauritania, that sounds like an awesome idea, actually.
Yeah, that'd be
especially
sick.
To build right now, like to build off the hype of Swampletics.
Like, yeah, imagine if you like imagine selling maple shortbows for $1 mil each. People grind the barrows to buy a maple shortbow because it's like the #1 range weapon or whatever.
Yeah,
like that would be, I don't know, it'd be a lot of fun. Deadman mode locked, like region locked, but it'd also be like, I think it'd be taken pretty poorly by the community. It'd be like a meme almost, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well,
definitely more fun than the Deadman what they're doing now.
Right now,
where it's just
they'd almost need to make like a custom area that has like a progression, but just like a limited progression. So maybe not like specifically Mauritania or Al Kharid, but just like combine elements of those things to make a restricted version of the map for Deadman mode, because it would also condense people a lot more.
Also, one thing people have been talking about recently is old school RuneScape, like a reset of old school. Would you be interested in that?
I'd like that.
Would you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. On separate servers, like not like you're restricted from this content sort of thing. Like not what Bodhi's doing, but rather separate servers where it's like an actual reset.
Like World 45.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Okay, but like when you say that, are you talking about just take away every single update that's happened since the start?
Yeah.
Because like you wouldn't have things like middle mouse wheel to rotate your camera and stuff like that. Is that what you're thinking of? Okay.
Yeah.
Some people think like it clunky like that.
I think that would be, a lot of people would support that at the start, and then they would log in and like try to move their camera with the middle mouse wheel, and then they would just log out.
Right. I think you're right.
Well,
saying that.
It also splits the community. Like, if like 1,000 people go and play that game mode, then that's 1,000 people who stopped playing old school RuneScape and just left the game. And I mean, if you get a ton of people doing that, you're just going to end up with like half the amount of people logged into each version, or some chunk that you've just kind of disconnected, and then you need like a different team to like manage it. And
the people
splitting from
leaving to
EOS.
play that game mode are the people who are like dissatisfied with the updates of the game, and they would quit anyways. Like,
I don't think you'd quit anyways.
I don't know.
You'd quit if that came out.
Yeah.
Or not quit, but
I mean, I
you'd
wouldn't
skip.
play that like classic game mode either. Like, it would be cool to have that. Maybe I'd play it on the side, but it wouldn't be my main thing.
Right.
But that's just why I'd like, if they were to do something like that, I'd rather have them do it in like the way Bodhi's doing it, where you just can't interact with new content, but you're still there.
Like
Because then
Iron
at
Man
least
upgrade.
it keeps... Yeah, and if you want to give them a new helmet color, like, we don't have a blue helmet yet. If they want to like not have the GE, it's that merchantman mode people joke about.
So next, Mason, would you play either of these modes that have come up? I know Nexus said he'd play the old school RuneScape on the side. Mason, would you play anything?
Oh yeah. I like playing all of these modes. Like I don't really stick with them the same way, but like I've made a couple different hardcores. I've made 2 different Ultimate Iron Men. I enjoy the experience of trying new modes and like experiencing different metas. You can like really geek out for the mode, but then I kind of fall back to just normal Iron Man because I think it's the most playable.
Let's say of all these modes we suggested, you have to choose one in particular. What's your favorite one, Mason?
Group Iron Man mode.
Group Iron Man?
Just to be able to make like weird accounts and kind of like I think it'd be kind of entertaining to like get together with a friend and do like God War set from scratch. And just like have a fixed goal and just kind of complete it.
Right.
I think there's a lot of like YouTube content too that can come out of Group Iron Man mode.
Yeah. Next.
And it appeals to probably some casuals.
Next, what's your favorite mode? Just suggested one.
Old school.
Okay.
I would hate to see area-specific accounts that isn't on Deadman.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't
It
know.
would have to
That's
be
really
some sort
lame.
of competition.
Or if it's like on a rotation, like Mauritania only for like 3 months, and then your account gets like wiped or converted, and then it's like Fremnik only, or
Right, so
something
not a
like
permanent
that.
thing, and they'd have to make that clear.
Yeah, not permanent.
Yeah, I agree with that. Urba, is there anything you'd like to see introduced?
I like the Iron Man, Deadman mode.
Iron Man, Deadman? Yeah, are you talking about like a tournament or a seasonal? Or both?
I guess both.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Charmander, just finish this topic off. What's your favorite suggestion?
I think stuff like Hardcore Ultimate Iron Man and Region Locked, like neither of those are sustainable at all. That's like the type of account that you like. It sounds fun to play it until you actually play it, and then you realize how unfun it is.
Yeah.
I think that goes for like the old school. Like, I think they could definitely do it in a way where they revert it back to a specific period, like before Zulrah for Iron Man or something like that. But I think if you just rewind everything back to the start, like not having middle mouse wheel scrolling and tons of quality of life, like no diaries, things like that people just take for granted right now. Like Nex understands that and Nex would enjoy that, but I think the vast majority of people would be expecting something different. And so I think pretty much almost all of those game modes are unsustainable. I think they're all terrible ideas. I think Group Iron Man mode is a terrible idea. It's just specifically made for content creators to have more content because they're running out of things to stream.
But isn't that reason enough to make it a good mode? Like if it's good for advertising for the game and good content, isn't that reason enough to make it worthwhile?
Do they need a mode for that? Like, people are doing just fine
Yeah, the
without a
game's
mode.
boring right now. Streamers are so boring. You click Twitch and everyone's doing like fucking solo raids.
Yeah, but you don't need
boring
it
is
to
that?
be a game mode. You can just
Like,
play it. Like,
all it would turn into... Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's it. You can just play it. Like, Settled doesn't need a Mauritania only game mode to do his account. Like,
Right, but if you locked in a group of like 50 people doing it, you'd have a lot more of a community and more interactions and Especially if it was like a
Who's
Dead
gonna
Man mode.
watch so many different series of Mauritania only?
I think people would love it if there was Dead Man mode Mauritania locked and people were PKing each other at barrows and
Yeah,
people
Dead
trying to
Man's
get
a
to-
different thing.
Yeah,
That's
but
a fantastic idea.
that'd be fun.
Like the dead man mode and like competition lock things, really awesome idea. But think about group Iron Man. Like, what does that turn into? Like 6 months into the account,
Nothing. Dead.
right? It's gonna be 3 people at Bandos with 1 tank and 2 attackers, except now they're Iron Man. Like, that's literally just as unexciting as watching mains do it.
Yeah.
So that's another idea that seems really, oh, you get to watch Curtis and Mammal be on the same Iron Man team. Wow, that's awesome. They're gonna rush and go do raids together. Like, do the same thing they do on their Iron Man right now. Like, none of this stuff sounds exciting to me. I think they're all terrible updates except the region lock tournaments. I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
I think if
something
you
that.
like pitch that to them or told them about the Mauritania locked Deadman mode, that they would be very much for that right now. Actually,
I
personally,
think
Yeah.
if they just like did a surprise, like the tournament started today, I think, or yesterday. If they just like 2 days before, well, obviously that's not very fair, but maybe like a week or two before, they could have just said, okay, this tournament will be Mauritania locked. Like that would make so much hype for it. Like, yeah, it's kind of a meme, but yeah, it'd be really fun to watch, I think.
and then
How would that work in reality? Like, you've played Dead Man. Would people not just lock off certain areas of the
They
game or
would.
something?
They definitely would. It would be really
Right, and Mauritania
imbalanced.
is like you're just controlling like a single area.
Right,
Like,
it would be the largest clan that takes control of Barrows first, would have all the good gear, and it would be
Right.
really imbalanced, but it would be a lot of fun to watch, I think. But
Okay.
even maybe
so
Zaya would be
for
better.
playing it or for watching it, like what?
Okay,
why
I
do
think
you want
Zaya would be a better example, because with Zaya, there's
Yeah.
it's so much larger that you can't actually lock off certain things, and there's so much
Yeah.
content to Zaya. There's like catacombs, there's raids. People can be in Winter Todd to get tomes to do like the big massive fire spells, and I think
you could
Zaya.
do some Zaya library to train your rune crafting.
So I think, I think Zaya would be the best Deadman mode tournament if they were to do a region lock tournament for Deadman.
Yeah.
Zaya would be the
Well, especially
best
if-
continent.
They should make like a Slayer Master on Zaya for that thing that just only assigns tasks that you can do on Zaya.
Yeah.
Like just make, reskin Konar and just make it so people can train Slayer there, and then you can do everything on
They
Zaya.
could totally
but
make
it just
it work.
compresses it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you look at like the only Ironman, it's the only skill they can't train pretty well.
Yeah.
And if you just add like a way to do Slayer, people can get like whips. They can get fucking dragon claws and T-bows. Like it'd be nutty.
Okay, so that was officially our last question to do with updates and things like that.
I actually want to touch on something someone said in chat really quick. I don't know if you guys have like kept up with it, but like Skidler and Ron and a couple other people are doing like an unofficial group Ironman mode, basically, or like it's what is it like?
They're doing like a group
Max Cash or
rebuild.
something like that. Yeah,
it's
something
a
like that.
2v2 rebuild series together.
Right, and that's like if I was going to watch RuneScape content, that is something I would love to watch, right? We all loved God Sword Set from scratch because you got to watch, Kieran, Simon, and I forgot the other guy's name.
James.
James, yeah. Simon and James all interact together. But like the enjoyable part of that are the people interacting together, right? It's not what they're doing on RuneScape, it's the 4 guys all in a call doing raids together. Like that's the enjoyable part, I think. I don't think watching 4 accounts do Chambers of Xeric is entertaining necessarily. I think the entertaining part of that is that they're all in a call being together. And like if it's working now, you can see that they clearly don't need a game mode for that, right? If they're doing it themselves right now.
Why
So,
not?
I don't-
Okay, I'm just brainstorming. Why not do a Deadman tournament that's region locked, but you have to be in groups of 3, like teams of 3. You got allies, and then you could have people in calls for a Deadman tournament. I think that would be a lot of fun, or like teams of 5.
Yeah, but then why don't the teams of 3 just team up and then you have just like big clans?
Okay,
so all
then
you do
like-
is make
like-
it so.
Like 1,000 versus 1,000
It's-
then, or something like I don't know.
Yeah.
So they could introduce some
no,
sort of
it's-
teamwork, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be cool. I think to talk back to the point Charmander said, like the reason they need a mode is so people at home can play along with their content creators that they like. And it kind of like keeps them, it makes it feel official. Like the people who do like the self-proclaimed Iron Man mode, just like, you know, it just doesn't have the same kind of like spice as like, you know, being able to like watch a content creator and kind of like follow along and do your own version.
Yeah, but Charmander's point is that the fun part is watching people interact with these things.
Yeah.
There needs to be more team
and
stuff.
Group Iron Man mode would encourage that, and also doing team stuff in Deadman mode would be really cool. Like if they every time you logged in, you got split into like one of 4 teams, and you were just assigned to that team. You can't attack anyone in your team, and you can't trade with anyone out of your team. Just like
probably wouldn't work
every time
in
you
practice because people have their own clans and alliances outside of RuneScape, but. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more team-based competitions because it just encourages what Charmander said, which was just you want to watch content creators interact with each other. That's fun. Just like some friends talking.
We should we've been on this subject for a while. We should move on. But the last thing I want to say is like the exciting part about RuneScape streams is probably 95% the content creator or like the person streaming.
Yep.
And 5% what they're actually streaming. So like. Not to rag on anyone in particular, but I'm going to take Bo. Like, people watch him because he's sarcastic and mean. Like, his content is terrible. He's absolutely awful at the game. But the people who think he's funny tune into him every single day. And so you can add in all these different game modes, but in the end, it's going to be down to the person you're watching that's going to have to be the real entertainment. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, like Foe's not very. I just want to. I don't think it's fair to say he's not good at RuneScape because he's intelligent about the game and he understands the game and he has a lot of ideas about the game. He's just not very good at implementing it. But yeah,
right. I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So questions: do you do anything on RuneScape that is inefficient? So anything for fun or just a preference? Maybe red chins over black chins, which I think Nex will say. But Mason, do you do anything for fun? Anything inefficient?
Yeah, I do like tons of stuff for fun that's not necessarily efficient.
I know, that's why you're
like,
first.
No, I know, but like, yeah, just like I goof around a lot with like friends. I like anytime someone like asks a question in game, like I love escorting cute noobs around the map and just like helping them do their clue scrolls. Like it's a massive waste of time. But like that's one of the things I enjoy about just the fact that it's a massive multiplayer online game is that you can just like do stuff with other people, and a lot of it's for fun and inefficient. Skilling wise, like I have like a whole like spreadsheet of how long I can do something versus like its XP per hour. And I kind of built out like my own version of like what's efficient in terms of how long I'd actually be willing to do it. So for me, like doing something like blast mining or VM is just better than granite because I can do an hour of granite or I can do 5 hours of volcanic mine.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Next, do you do anything for fun, or do you PVM or PK or something like that?
I'll do Chambers of Xeric soon, which is, I mean, pretty much for fun. Like, there's nothing really efficient for me to gain from it. And I'll probably spend a couple months of time doing it, but yeah, that's what I'll be doing for fun. And like, doing bandos. I guess it's sort of efficient, but I probably could have left at some point.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Charmander?
I've been slaying recently. I think probably one of the most like inefficient things I do is that I melee Dagonauts in the catacombs because I think barraging them is probably one of the most unfun things to do in the entire game. And anytime I get that task, like the thought of barraging them just makes you want to stop Slayer. So it's better for me to just melee them and keep slaying. I do red chins sometimes. I think black chins are pretty fun. I mean, I fished monkfish at work before. That's definitely inefficient. But like most of the inefficient stuff I do are things that like
help your account progress.
If I wasn't doing it inefficiently, I wouldn't be doing it, period. So to me, that like makes it worth in a sense, because like if I wasn't fishing monkfish at work, I just wouldn't be playing the game because I can't do things like barb at work. And so to me, like in my head, that makes it efficient for me personally. And that's really it.
Okay. Urba, I expect a similar answer. Just efficient things that you do a bit inefficiently
Yeah.
sometimes.
I've done a lot of inefficient things like herbivore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now I just take to fishing, critic fishing.
Yeah. Okay. So more of a hardcore nerd than the rest of us, I think. Charmander
Yes.
and Urba. Personally, I plan to do a lot of pet hunting, PVMing. I go PKing sometimes, whether that's on my Iron Man, I will go PK for a bit, or on Dead Man I'll PK, or play the Tournament Worlds, or I play everything. I PVM, I PK, I skill. There's not a lot of skilling that I do inefficiently. I think if you're skilling, you may as well be efficient. I think most people here would agree with that. But yeah, I'm planning to do about 6 months of raiding, or however long it takes me to complete Chambers and Theater. I've already got 5 out of the 7 items from Theater, and I've got the pet there, so mainly focusing on Chambers of Xeric for like 2,000 raids. So I want to complete that. I want to get the pet and all the items, so yeah. I'd never do red chins over black chins. I don't think that's an upgrade or any reason to do that. I don't find it more fun or relaxing or anything, so yeah. Sorry, Mason, do you want to say something before we move on?
No, well, no, and I think stuff like PVM, I think that's part of what's good about the upcoming rank changes, is that's something that like a lot of people really enjoy and want to do, and it's like a big element of the game that isn't necessarily like efficient for that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so PVMing's fun. What was your introduction to efficient skilling? Disagree? Fair enough. Introduction to efficient skilling. Did anyone or anything in particular inspire you or influence your playstyle? Neckreels.
Yeah. Just the people I hung out with. Basically. I sort of just like copied their playstyle, and now like 5 years later I'm still playing the same way.
So were you a noob before you had friends? Is that what you're saying?
Not really, but I would like log out and just stop playing. And like the main thing I learned from them was like just keep playing, like past when you're feeling burnt out. Just like stay logged in and keep playing. I've basically done that. Yeah.
Okay. Mason?
Like the achievement diaries was really my introduction to efficient skilling, because it like encouraged me to try a lot more skills and get them up, and like really care a lot more about the game. Like I was definitely just like the kind of person who got like decent combat stats and then just did a bunch of PVM before the diaries came out, and then I got really into skilling, and and then like Iron Man came out, and I really liked people like Osiris and Lilidor, and specifically like Osiris's guide and how he like mapped out the game, and just sort of doing that like routing through got me really into like thinking about what I'm doing in the game, and like trying to be like really effective with the time that I spend. Okay. So it was kind of like diaries got me into skilling, and then Osiris got me into like giving a shit about what I was doing when I'm on.
Nice. Charmander, did anything inspire you or influence your playstyle?
I think diaries were one of the things that like got me very first started. I never ever did anything efficiently when I started my Iron Man. I remember even like I think even after I maxed for a little bit after, I would slay in like AFK Greater Demons in the Catacombs with Prey Melee and AFK Fire Giants and like lots of stuff like that. So I think one of the things that got me really started was my time in Erudite, like being in the clan with people who I looked up to, like Vaddy and Tyler and Parker are the 3 who always come to mind first.
Parker? What? Okay.
Like, I don't want... Anyway, now I'm off track. But like, when you're in a clan with those types of people who Parker's dropping like 60, 70 mining weeks while you know, being a teacher or whatever, doing granite, like that stuff was so foreign to me when I was in the clan that I almost felt like not out of place, but that like I was expected to do things like that. And so I started testing like tick manip methods and things like that. But I think the thing that really like pushed me over the edge is when I started talking to people and like getting to know them better, like Frazier and Nex and Dids and people like that, and communicating with them, because like people just start to expect more out of you when you're on the front page and the leader of a clan. And I think Olympus has done a lot for me. So there's a lot of things that have have guided me to where I am today.
Right.
And where I am today is rank 1 fishing 6 hour, by the way.
Yeah. Very cool, man. All right,
So,
Oba. Oba, was there
Shout
anything
outs to the people who guided me here.
All right, didn't ask. Okay, so who influenced you, Oba? Or who introduced you to efficient skilling?
Ironman mode in general just made me start to play more efficient. So I just started grinding the high scores.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
about it.
Did it
Yeah.
make you play efficiently because you wanted to get like really high up on the high scores? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
I
agree with
remember
that.
I saw Urba in DVS's CC, or like a really casual Iron Man TeamSpeak one day, I think. Something like that. I was like, hey, you should join Erudite. And Urba's like, what's that? Yeah, right, why not? And then Urba sort of joined in and became part of the community more. But before that, he was already an efficient skiller before he spoke to anyone, which is very foreign, I think. Because I think most people became efficient once they started talking to people who were efficient or things like that. But yeah. And for me, when I started Iron Man, very newbie. Just did a lot of everything. It's always been my playstyle. A little bit of PKing, stuff like that. I think my Iron Man's got like 200 kills in the wilderness or something like that. So, very inefficient when I started. My introduction to efficient skilling was talking to Tyler and becoming friends with Tyler. I became friends with Tyler when I was like 1700 total or 1600, something like that. Very newbie. Tyler was maxed, I think, or closing on a max, working towards max. So Tyler had a very efficient mindset, and the way that he approached the game and skills and played for long hours. I found that really awesome, and how he AFK things like Nightmare Zone certainly inspired me to start doing Nightmare Zone. I think if Tyler never did Nightmare Zone, I would have never been so encouraged to do Nightmare Zone. And people talk about Zone being easy. There's not a lot of people with 200 mil attack and strength. It's easy, but it takes a lot of work and dedication and motivation. And a lot of people don't have those things and won't be willing to do it and won't be able to do it. So it's easy, not denying that, but it certainly takes a lot of motivation and being, like really into RuneScape to be able to AFK things like in your spare time, like when you're spending quality time with your family or friends or whatever. It takes a lot of dedication to keep zoning or woodcutting, whatever you're up to.
Especially during like doing redwoods on your honeymoon, like.
I can zone, man. Okay, I get flamed a lot for this, but I looked at my screen time. It was like 15 minutes for like a 16-hour day. Played like 16 hours of RuneScape, and I looked at my phone for 15 minutes. That's not abnormal. It didn't affect my life in any way.
I also like.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, but that ties into the role of community. Is like you got it like inspired by Tyler to just like put in more time, and I think everybody kind of gets that, and that's part of what's great about CC's like Olympus and just high level Iron Man communities, is that you have enough other people also caring about that thing that it pushes people to try it.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people are trying to do NMZ because it was a bingo tile, and they're getting into it now and actually getting a lot of XP.
That's exactly why we had it there, so people would be encouraged to start doing Zone and Redwoods as well. That's why we have 2 woodcutting tiles and bingo. Okay.
I realized another thing that made me more efficient was having a bigger constriction on my time. Also, like working a job, you just have less hours in the day that you can play, so it felt almost like I was wasting time to just be AFKing at Barb as opposed to doing the most efficient method to maximize and get the best use out of my time. That's probably another really big thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The polling system. This is a fun topic. So we'll start with, do you like the concept of polling updates? Do you like the idea of a community-run game? And then we'll go on to, do you like the implementation of polling updates in RuneScape? Do you like the way it's actually done rather than just the concept? And is it useful in its current state? And what does polling actually do for the game? What changes would you make? And do you vote? Why or why not? I've got my name at the top of the list here, but I think I'll leave my answer till last. So we'll start with Charmander. What do you think about polling in RuneScape? Let's start with, do you like the idea of polling? Do you like a community-run game? Or do you think the mods should just make the decisions?
I think, I mean, I kind of briefly touched on this earlier. I think at the start of the game, the polling system was great because people held really closely onto wanting to keep it not like respectable, but close to how old school used to be, right? Where everything's really slow and grindy and tons of long grinds and stuff like that. And so you would vote for things that would take that away, and people would vote no because they wanted to keep that. But in 2019, people want the opposite of that. Now everybody wants everything to be as fast and AFK as possible. I think the polling, just to like summarize this really quickly, I think the polling system is really outdated now. I don't think it works anymore. I think the wording of their questions is terrible and really easy to manipulate to get people to vote for what they want. I think the fact that they just blatantly re-poll stuff that has failed before is just idiotic. Like, why would you poll it in the first place? I think it's obvious when they want stuff to pass with how they word it and how they'll just keep pushing and throwing it at you in different iterations. I think the whole thing is just a joke, and the best thing is to just, like, I mean, I want to say make the decision themselves, but that's going to be just as bad. So with the amount of inspiration they take from Reddit, it's, I don't know, it's like a lose-lose situation. Like, why even have the middleman of the polling system? Because everything is going to pass anyway, right? So you might as well just have the JMods just throw it into the game. Like, why waste time putting it into a poll if it's going to pass? I think something has to be done. I don't know what it is, though. That's all.
I'm, one second, I'm just going to put an image on screen. If I can just find this, NMZ here. Okay, here is a poll that they did on a live stream, right? What should we do with Nightmare Zone? This is what they polled. Okay, so there is one option here to say leave it as is. 17% of people said leave it as is. 83% of people, my interpretation of this poll is 83% of people are unhappy with the state of Nightmare Zone, right? But if you poll a simple, should we change Nightmare Zone? Yes, no. The vote won't be 83% change it. It's completely up to how they ask the question, what the answers are, the way it's worded. Should we change it? Should we not change it? 75%, 25%, you know, like the numbers they're going to hit. And as well as, like, if you've taken polling 101 at any sort of even community college, they tell you, if you sent out a survey to everyone in the world and said, has your head ever been chopped off? Like 5 to 10% of people will say yes. Like, you get the stupid answer, always gets like some amount of anyway. So like having a 75% cutoff, it really matters the way that you word the question. Should we nerf Nightmare Zone or should we leave it alone? You get the 5 to 10% that just vote the stupid thing anyway. And then you've got like really small margin to like make a large majority of everyone vote for one unanimous thing. But if you split everything up like this, it makes it like, this makes it seem like 83% of people think that Nightmare Zone has to be changed. Whereas if it was, should we change Nightmare Zone? Yes, no. You're not going to get 83% of people saying yes. Like, it really matters the way that it's worded, the way that it's presented, the way that people provide their opinions, because whether you know it or not, there's a lot of like TED Talks, and I know I'm becoming a bit nerdy right now, but the way that you are framed to feel about a certain thing really influences your decision. So in countries that have like similar values, let's say like Sweden and Denmark, for example, they've got similar values, those countries. Whereas like 100% in like one of the countries might be organ donors and like 20% of the other. It's because of the way they vote. It's like tick this box to opt in or tick this box to opt out of being an organ donor. Like it's the way you word the question really matters. It really influences the outcome. So the person that writes the questions at Jagex, they choose what comes into the game. Whether you like it or not, that's just how it is. They absolutely choose what comes into the game by the way they ask the question. And the way that JMods present their opinions as well, because what people understand from polling is when you're asked the question, should we change this about RuneScape? We're presented with the idea, the perception that this is a good change and that's why they're suggesting it. Until you hear a content creator say, hey, that sucks, that's shit, that's not good for the game, until you hear outcry on Reddit, your automatic vote is just going to be yes. Like, change, yes. So you've obviously asked it for a reason, yes, this should happen. Because there's like that screening process of, should we even bother asking this? Like, should you be able to left-click 3-tick fish at the pond? Obviously, that's stupid. They're not going to poll that. Like, things that are polled have this like preconceived idea of, yes, that is a good update. Yes, that would be healthy for the game. So people just vote yes. And it would also, as I said, really depends on the way that it's asked and the way that people talk about it. It really influences people's decisions. So I just want to say that polling right now sucks. The current state of it sucks. It's awful. It does nothing for the game. It just influences and makes the game easy-scape because on release, polling was awesome. 15,000 people playing. Everyone wanted old school to survive. That's why they're playing it in the first place, because they wanted that nostalgic value. And now 150,000 people online, and they just want to like do what's fun or progressive for them at the fastest rate possible. So polling needs to change, and the way that polls are, the whole like premise of what they've constructed on RuneScape needs to change as well as the way they word questions and things like that. It's just, the whole thing needs to change. It's no good right now.
Yeah, I think especially if you consider the, like, what mobile has done to the game, which the purpose was to invite a bunch of new casual players to the game, right, who are only going to play on their phone. Like, of course, everything passes now because, like, there's the huge influx of casuals that couldn't care less about the game, and to them it's just another app on the App Store. So do I want to make it faster? Yeah, of course I want to get to my goals faster. Like, just make everything faster. And then also two more points, the wording on them is just terrible. I think with like the clue scroll expansion that they pulled, I think, I don't even read the polls anymore, but I think they're like adding like new clue rewards or something, and they're pulling like the pet, I think, and the mimic is a pet, I think. I don't know. They pulled like the pet with something else. It was like, or I think it was like beginner clues with the entire clue expansion in the same question. It was like, should we do this clue expansion, and then if the clue expansion is added, should we add beginner clues? It was like in the same question.
Right. So one thing I want to really emphasize right now on this topic is that the polling system is an illusion. It's an illusion of a community-run game. It's not actually a community-run game. At the end of the day, the people asking the questions choose what comes into the game. It is not a community-run game, and we don't actually... It's a massive illusion. It's not real. We don't actually run this game at all. The mods do, but they present it as that we're running it, when we're not. It's like they tie questions in, like Charmander was saying, and the way they word it completely predetermines the outcome anyway, so...
And not only that, but like when volcanic mine and swimming entered into the game at a polled rate of X, and then they just changed the rates without polling it again. Like, how does that make any sense at all? That's like, in America, you vote Donald Trump as president, and everyone agrees that Donald Trump is president, and then you wake up the next day and like there's just a completely different president there. It's like, why did you even poll it at XXP rate to begin with if you're just going to change it without polling? Just another thing to show that, like, sure, you can vote for it into the game, but it's the JMods at the end of the day who have the final say. So why is the poll system even in the game?
Exactly. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
It's an illusion of the community-run game. It's not actually. Sorry, Mason, did you
Well, and
go?
how would you... Well, I think Nex and Herb are ahead of me on this list. I was just wondering how you guys would actually change it, though, because you talked about how bad it is. But, like, do you have
I
a
think
better
they need
solution
to bring
what
it back to focusing on the opinions of the hardcore players, as it was at the start. At the start, there were like 15,000 people online, and those people's opinions mattered. And I think it needs to come back to that, and people with the most playtime need to have their opinions heard. On screen, sorry, I've just put real quick. I put the Fossil Island poll for Volcanic Mine. Put it right here in the middle. If Fossil Island is added to Old School, should it include the Volcanic Mine skilling activity? The maximum experience rate when participating in the Volcanic Mine would be 82,000 mining experience per hour. I've done Volcanic Mine firsthand. It is not 82,000. It's not even close to 82,000. It's 95,000. It was actually 105 until fucking recently.
You don't even have to try to get like close to 90,000.
Yeah, it's like it's AFK and like it's stupid. But yeah.
Well, and that gets to the way I'd want to see the polling change happen is the solution that because I was thinking about this last night, but what they should do is get rid of the preemptive polling. Like they should just do surveys, find out what people want, and then they should make updates and then launch it into a test world so people can experience the content. Because also, like, you don't know what it is when they, like, this thing that you're voting for, it doesn't tell you at all what the content is. And I think if they basically created the content, released it on a test world, and then basically kept polling that content and adjusting it and tweaking it until it actually passed, you'd end up with a lot more of a focus on balance than what you currently have.
I mean, Fossil
like
Island,
if people could...
Sorry, I just want to say, we've got fucking bird houses from Fossil Island. It's an hourly activity you have to do as a maxed Iron Man. That was presented to us as a level 5 to 35 method. Like, they're just so it's not... They don't present what is actually happening.
No, and so that's why, like, I kind of want to see them get rid of the polling that's in there now. Just do surveys, find out what people want, and then just make the content that they think people want, put it in game in a test world, so people can actually like experience what they're voting for, and have time to like tweak it and fix it. Just it only exists in a test world until it actually passes,
I really
and then
like
it becomes
that idea
an
of just surveying
game.
people and making their own content that they think would fit what people want. I think that's awesome.
Because they do that right now, and then they just pull those things, and then they make those things, and they're like doing all the updates behind the scenes anyway. Like they're doing work on stuff like Song of the Elves before it actually passes, because they're just gonna like grind it till it passes. But they might as well just like make the content and then just release it, let people test it, and just tweak it, until it's ready to be in the game. And then it never has to enter broken.
I just want to show on screen right now. This is from the dev blog of Volcanic Mine. It says here in the second sentence, as an activity which will require a high level of engagement, it does not. You can AFK it. It will offer experience comparable to some of the best mining methods in the game. Yeah, it's the second best method in the game. It's just like what they polled and what they presented and what they wanted to put into the game is not what we got. I've also got here, dev blog of birdhouses and swimming, which I think is pretty interesting to look at. Here's what they presented to us. They offer experience rates superior to any other method between levels 5 and 35 Hunter. Yeah, actually experience better than level 99 Hunter methods. It's actually the single best method at all levels of Hunter. This is just what they presented to us and what they made us vote on and what they polled and what they introduced to us is not what's in game. Like they say in the blog here for agility and thieving and swimming, 30k an hour agility and 110k an hour thieving. It's like, it's just not even close to what people get. It's just completely off. And people voted on this because it wasn't too broken. If they presented it as OP as it is right now in its current state, it would have never passed, would be my argument. It would never even come close to passing because people would have just... The content creators would have said, hey, that's not actually tuned well, it's not fair, doesn't fit into the game. And people would have had an educated opinion, whereas instead of presenting everything at the start, they present an idea and then they add on to it, and then by the time it's already in the game, it's sort of hard for the content creators to say, hey, that's actually not very fair and it's not done well. So there's not like... The informed people aren't able to share their informed opinions with the player base before things are voted on, which is what I really don't like, is they bring something into the game, and they bring buffs...
Before things pass.
Yeah, but no, like, they'll bring something into the game, the idea of something, make it accepted, like swimming, and then in a separate poll they say, hey, should we increase the rates on this? And then the average player has no idea what's a fair rate, and like content creators aren't presented an opportunity to say, hey, that's really fucked. Like this whole idea of swimming is just not fair at all. But yeah, I hate polling.
I think servers, like you said, would be a really great idea. Another like really simple fix is just like take if you look at the polls, they're like 20 plus questions long of stuff. Like if they would just take the polls and divide it by like 5 and just take 4 or 5 questions at a time and go really like pretty in depth, for what you can on some of these and give actual numbers, I think that would go such a long way. Like, for instance, one of the recent things was like, should we change this that like you automatically enchant stuff if it's in your inventory? Like instead of just asking or saying yes, it's slower than doing it manually. Like how do we vote on that without knowing what the numbers are? Like
Yeah, they're not presenting everything.
that's mind-boggling that you just want me to vote on something without knowing what I'm voting on. Like you could have taken that question and said, right now a full inventory takes, I don't know, 10 seconds to manually enchant everything. If you do it automatically, it's going to take 45 seconds. Is this something we should add into the game? And that's such a like minute thing they can do to make a really big difference, but it's not going to happen. So
Because the polling system, once again, is an illusion of a community-run game. It's not actually a community-run game. You have the illusion of it, but at the end of the day, the mods choose what comes into the game, and they know exactly what they're doing. There's a reason poll results aren't hidden, and the reason for that is because they know what they're doing, and they want to influence updates to pass. They're not only going to poll things they want to pass. So, anyway, I think we've drilled in the topic of polling. I'm just going to move on now, I think. Let's move on to something more fun. Sandstone machine. Very fun. It's the funnest thing I can think of, actually. Sandstone machine. Exciting. Okay. So what are our general thoughts? What's that?
I said this is a really good example of like polling and what we were just talking about.
Right. Okay. So what are our general thoughts? Was it implemented correctly? Is it too strong? And what are the effective buckets per hour? That's what everyone wants to know. So factoring in the mining, you like a lot of people say, oh, it's 2,000 buckets an hour or whatever, 3,000 buckets an hour with my shit rates, and I do this. But it's like, yeah, but the mining XP you get, that's worth something when your alternative is you're going to be doing MLM instead. So that mining XP is really valuable. So,
you should explain like what effective is.
Okay, so what effective is it takes solely the time spent collecting the sand. So it takes the rate for efficient mining, and it factors in the mining XP you get in terms of like at the efficient rate, which most people won't do. Most people will do MLM instead of like 4G. But effectively is just as if you spend a whole hour only collecting sand. In reality, that might be 3 hours because you've spent 2 hours mining and you do 1 hour collecting sand. The effective rate is how much sand are you actually collecting per hour when you're collecting sand. It's not when you're mining, not everything else included, because that's useless. You want to know effectively how many buckets of sand you receive per hour. I think Nex has the numbers on.
Yeah. So if you're 3 ticking and then handing in 1 kilogram blocks as well, like not dropping them, you're getting 80k mining XP an hour, and then the real-time buckets per an hour is 6.1k. So the effective buckets per an hour is 17.5k, and that's up from 2k at the Unil sand pit.
So this was an incredibly massive buff, is what we're saying. Like, this is just incredibly broken. It was nothing close to what we suggested or presented, and we told Modwolf, okay, I was on my honeymoon, I was at the beach, it was like 8 a.m., 9 a.m, Modwolf was talking to us in the Olympus Discord in our separate chat, and he said, can anyone hop on voice? I want to talk about the sand machine. This is like weeks before they presented it to anyone, because they wanted our opinion of it. And Sam, Hyger, a few others, Smithy, they all worked on this massive spreadsheet to show the mods, hey, this is really fucking broken. What you're presenting is really broken, and this is like a fair way to do it. And so Modwolf came in, he listened to us for like 2-3 hours. We talked about where the machine would be, how long it would take to operate, things like that. What the most efficient method would be, and we told Wolf, hey, this is what we think is fair, and we even factored in things like the casual player would normally be doing MLM, or the normal player would actually be doing like volcanic mine at these levels, or we took in like casual rates and casual collecting rates, and we also made it fair around like AFK mining, like just clicking the rock, not using herb tar or anything, but also making it strong enough for level 99 3-tick mining to be significantly, like, a significant improvement. So, like, we spent a lot of time on these spreadsheets and talking to the mods and communicating with them, talking to them on voice, making sure they understood what we were saying, which it appeared that Wolf did understand what we were saying, but he went and told the team, and the team obviously didn't like what we had said because one Reddit comment upset them. And we're not saying this to be spiteful or anything. They literally told us on voice, hey, the top Reddit comment didn't like it, so we're changing it. They literally said that. They said, hey, Reddit did not like that idea. so we're changing it. We're making it even stronger. It's just like it's like a knee-jerk reaction to. We'd spent hours making a spreadsheet. There's one moron on Reddit says, "Hey, I don't like that because I'm not going to be 3-tick mining." Huh? Like he's completely wrong with everything he said. It just wasn't even close to true. It was just a factually incorrect statement, and then the knee-jerk reaction from the mods because of Reddit. Just so stupid the way this whole thing was implemented, and it's just way too strong right now. It's really, really strong. So. Yeah,
and
I'm
without
not happy with how
3-tick
this was
mining,
handled.
it's like 12k buckets an hour. So like even if you're not ticking, it's still
Broken.
significantly quicker than it was before.
Yes.
6 times quicker.
Man.
Like, it's silly.
Because people look at it and they don't even factor in the mining XP they're receiving from it. And the mining XP is valuable. The
people
mining
don't
XP is worth something.
understand.
It's very valuable. It's like your alternative is fucking motherload mine at 30k an hour when we're scaling it to 120k. So it's just incredibly good for you. But yeah, these people just don't understand that mining XP is worth something. Sorry, Charmander, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, people just don't. People can't grasp the concept of like what effective buckets per hour means and how you're saving time by you can think about it as in like you're like combining activities, right? So like you're mining and collecting buckets of sand at the same time. But people don't understand that. All they think is, why am I going out of my way to mine sandstone and get these buckets at a slower rate than just AFKing at Yanil? Because they can't even stop to think for like 10 seconds about, oh wait, I'm also training mining, saving time. Now I don't have to go to Motherlode Mine. This is twice as fast, and I get buckets of sand. And it was like, I didn't even help them with the spreadsheet or anything. I was at work when all of this was going on, and I could just like feel and understand the frustration of working so long on something like that, and then having the mods just be like, that's such a great idea, like that all makes sense, and then just do something completely different. Like this is just like the polling system. Why did you even poll it? Why did you even ask us if you were
They're just trying to make us
change
happy.
that?
They just want to make us happy and make us stop talking because it's just stupid.
Well,
Yeah.
it's such a cool concept because it encourages people to try out like 2S2G and Sandstone and gets a bunch of noobs to Quarry who haven't really experienced it before, and that like all would have been great. But what the people at Reddit wanted was basically for you to mine a sand block that gives you 0 mining XP, but just like a shit ton of sandstone, and then you
Just
can
wanted-
turn it into buckets.
Like you
It's
could have
like they
just
don't-
said, should we make like Yanil Sandpit 10k buckets of sand per hour?
Yeah.
And they would have just said yes. Like that's all they
It's a-
wanted.
Yeah, because the point of the update, kind of encourages people to try out like a more efficient scaling method for mining and like get people who just assumed they could never do like 3-tick quarry to like experience what the quarry is actually like. But then like the people who bashed it are just people who, all they want to do is get like a Fury and go to Bandos. So they're never going to get 99 mining, so they don't give a shit.
Also, one thing before we continue, I just want to say that we have made all of our spreadsheets and numbers public. Our calculations are public. They're all in the Iron Man Skilling Methods Discord. I put it in the chat. Feel free to join that Discord. There's like 2,700 people in there since we released it not even 2 months ago. Like there's thousands of people that joined within 2 months. And if you click the spreadsheets tab in that Discord, there's all of our calculations numbers are all there for you to look at that the mods have already looked at. They've looked at our calcs, they've agreed with them, they've said we're correct. They said that they understood, and then they implemented something totally different. So, yep. Anyway, Sandstone, we all agree that it is really strong. It's a really good method. Very,
Yeah,
But
is
not necessarily
better.
bad.
Not necessarily
I think
bad. I think it's good.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
just numbers are too high. Get too
Just
much sand.
overtuned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like
it's an
Mason said,
amazing
it-
concept.
Yeah, like it encourages people to do something that they otherwise weren't going to do, ever go to the quarry. It's just that the way they went about it was just awful. Like the numbers are just awful, rather.
Yeah. Okay.
So, great idea on paper, like fantastic idea, but implementation just awful.
Okay, let's move on from the Sandstone mine. Jagex competitions. So do you keep up with Jagex competitions? Are there any sponsored competitions that you'd like to see in particular, like King of the Skill or an LMS competition? Are the current competitions becoming too stale? I would certainly say the Deadman is becoming really stale. really, really stale. And Deadman, as someone that's played in every single tournament except for this one, I've been invited to it and I haven't logged in. It's really boring. Deadman is really boring, and it's run by the same people and the same clans that account share on TeamViewer, and that like what people do. I'll just tell you what people do, and the mods know this happen, and everyone knows this happens in the community. You play with someone else. You have one friend in these clans. They all just sign up with one friend. They play 2 accounts for 12 hours. They sleep for 12 hours or do whatever and then they swap, and then the other person plays 2 accounts. You just use TeamViewer or Chrome Remote. You use whatever else to play their account while they sleep. And these accounts are logged in for 24 hours a day, and the mods can see that. No one can play for 24 hours a day for 7 days straight. It's just, the way that competition is run is, like, really flawed, and there's no way to fairly keep up. There's nothing you can do to play fair or have any chance at playing the tournament with the way that people just account share. It's so stupid, and it's so incredibly stupid. And the mode itself is pretty boring. Like, it's like, withdraw all has ruined it, for example. I don't think people realize that, but there's no skill in withdrawing things from your like stack of food anymore. You just left click and you withdraw all. It's just there's so many changes that have come into the game that have made Deadman mode really unfun.
The streamers aren't even playing it now. Like, the only big streamer playing it right now is Curtis.
It's so dead, man.
Wait, is Deadman on, like, right now?
Right now,
Yeah.
yes. I was invited to it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. I knew about all of the previous ones, but not this one. So
And they're still
I guess that just
sinking
goes
like
to show.
$40,000 or $50,000 into like the venue and the event, as well as like the prize pool. And why not just hold a king of the skill and put one prize on overall, make it literally about being the king? One person gets $50,000, everyone else gets fuck all, everyone else gets nothing. Rank 1 overall, probably Weeks. Weeks will probably get 50 grand. At least it'd be really fucking exciting, because Weeks is something to work towards for a month that he'll slave away for. Who wouldn't for 50 grand, right? Like, they could spend this 50 grand on way more exciting things, but they're stuck on this Deadman mode idea, so...
Well, and I'd like to see him just do more event-style things and tournaments. Like, the competitions are cool and all, but, like, Deadman mode, like, it's part of what's made it really stale is it's got just really efficient and really focused. Like, people have figured out, like, the way to win is be in a clan, camp banks, kill people in multi, like, and so they need to just do a lot more new things, because part of the hype was that people just, didn't know how to do it efficiently at the start, and so people were actually, like, losing things, and it was worth rebuilding and, like, playing, and they could just do, like, a lot of events and just, like, small competitions, even if it's just, like, a week-long competition where, teams have to, like, complete X or Y or Z, just, like, events that, because the main thing they get out of it is that community element of, like, people streaming. It's the same thing with, like, the Inferno was a massive event for the game. And so just, like, looking at what they can do to sort of get community involvement rather than just, like, dumping into the same competition, hoping to revive it.
So, in marketing, because it's all about marketing, right? There's 3 levels of clients in marketing. There's someone that observes, Twitch viewers. There's someone that participates, people that play it, that are in the game playing the mode. And there's co-creation. That's the highest level of a marketing team. The most valuable person is people that make their own content out of it. So there's observations, people that watch the streams. There's participation. And the most valuable, by far, exponentially more valuable, like thousands of times more valuable than any of the other consumers, is the people that make their own content and spread the word. Those people are what they need to start to aim for. And nobody's playing demo mode. Nobody's co-creating their own content. The marketing team has failed. Like, you take Marketing 101 and you learn about, it's all about making people that make their own content, make their own tweets, make their own things about the demo mode that spread the word quickly. That's how to run a successful company, is you need people that co-create and make their own strains of content, and they're just not doing it well. They suck at it. Like, it's awful. It's a failure. They need to change demo mode. And sorry, one thing that Mason said that I really like that he brought up is that people learn really quick, and people adapt, and people become really good at something really quick. Because I had this chat with Mason last night. It was like me, Mason, Next, talking about what we think needs to change. And Mason said that what he thinks is, like, Crack the Clue 1 took 9 months to solve, right? People didn't really know what to expect. and then they hire all these cryptographers and people to come in and crack the clue too, and it's solved in 5 days. It's not because it's not a great competition. It's an amazing competition. It's just people learn and become a lot better and a lot faster at solving things. And the same thing for like these tournaments, and it just needs to be new. It needs to be innovative. It needs to be refreshed and a new meta and something that's not already been solved. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback on your point about marketing and like how content creators end up being your best demographic, the content creators make stuff with whatever new content you make, but part of why Deadman mode is so stale is everybody's done this like 1,000 times, so it's no longer like exciting content to create. You can't bring like a new spin to Deadman mode. Like there's really set pathways. It's been really optimized. Like you're gonna go like a melee build during seasonal, and so you rush to get a defender, or you start out with mage range
solved.
and you get the
Like people know what to do.
And so they just need to just, rather than recreating those events over and over again, just
Something
like
new.
look at ways they can do smaller things, like the Zaya restricted version, where you just like make it so people can train all the skills but lock them on Zaya, or different modes. Like I think making events out of those kind of things, they could make like event style modes, you know, where people try and like rush to complete certain things. And
So one thing I really need to emphasize here is that the marketing team has like fundamentally failed. It's like they haven't even taken one semester at university. And like I obviously have taken some marketing classes and I know what I'm talking about. And the whole way to run a successful firm these days is about consumer centricity. It's all about like Apple computers. If they were still making computers and didn't appeal to what people want, then they wouldn't, like Apple 42 years ago, their main competitor was IBM. They were making computers. Apple adjusted to making phones. It's what people wanted. It's like it's all about adjusting to what people want. And Jagex don't do that. They don't create products that people co-create. They like people are only watching this tournament. There's 2,000 people participating. And nobody's streaming it. It's just a completely failed tournament. Like it's not good advertising for RuneScape anymore. It would have been so much more successful if they did something like a Zia locked tournament where every stream is playing it because it's fun and new and not solved and it's fresh and it's something completely brand new, or like a new King of the Skill or something like that. I don't know. There just needs to be new stuff. It needs to stop being the same thing on repeat because it's solved so quickly. But yeah. Okay, Jagex competitions. Let's just go through. Do you watch them anymore? I just want a quick yes no from everyone. So Mason, do you watch Deadman streams anymore?
No, I don't watch Deadman.
Okay, next. Do you watch any of these tournaments?
No, but I never really did.
Okay. Oba, do you watch or play or participate in any of these tournaments that Jagex do?
No, I want to watch King of the Skill though.
Yeah, that's fun to watch, isn't it? It'd be exciting.
Yeah.
Charmander.
The last Deadman thing I watched was the original season.
Yep, because it was
Like
brand new, it was innovative, it was exciting, it was fresh, it was unsolved.
Like the world, like the permanent Deadman world, the first time they did it, that was the last time I like cared at all.
Yep, and I don't give
And
a
yeah,
fuck about any of these tournaments. They're so boring.
It was awesome. Like still one of the like most exciting things I've ever seen in all RuneScape was like watching Bodhi try to escape from PKers at like the duel arena, and he like ran to Edgeville with his like chaos talisman, I guess, to get to the chaos altar, and that had like never been done before, and it just blew everybody's mind, and everyone was like, no way, and the chat's like blowing up, and now like no one gives a fuck about like bank standing fights and clan runs everything, and like that stuff is so fucking boring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just another more boring RuneScape content that nobody wants to watch now. It's just been recycled so many times.
They just need to bring in something new, I think. Would be a lot of fun. They just brought in a new competition, something that hasn't been done before. But okay, let's move on. Chinning Smoke Devils. That's been a thing that people have started to do in the past week or so, rather than barraging them. What is the method? Is it meta? And why would you do it? So I'll let Next start, because...
So the method is essentially you need an ult for it. So it's like ult luring Smoke Devils. Then you stand, I think, 4 to 7 squares away. I don't know the exact amount. and then you long fuse the pile of smoke devils, which gives you increased accuracy. So it's almost comparable to barraging them, but you're getting range XP instead. And it appears to be, according to what Higer's told me, it appears to be pretty good to do if you don't have like a Kodai and Ancestral. And since that's not efficient to get anymore, it's definitely worth considering if you don't have Max Mage.
So
Basically,
you
yeah.
do this because you get over 200 more magic by just slaying normally and just barraging Smoke
Yeah,
Devils.
and
So
it's more efficient if you don't have the best mage gear.
right. Okay, so this is something to consider if you're doing Efficient Slayer, using an ult.
Yeah, and for like
Um,
hardcores and ultimates and stuff,
Yeah,
because you get more money.
yeah. So I think there was
Which is an issue.
who was it? Was it Hebox Jong or Zulu or someone was tweeting
Yeah.
about it?
He-Box.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, probably have a look at their Twitters, see what's happening.
Yeah.
Would anyone here do this method? Would you chin Smoke Devils, or are you gonna stick to?
I'll do it
barraging?
just because it's funny.
Yeah, I'll probably do it after 200 mil magic, but like having to catch chins every time I get a smoke devil task and stuff just sounds super unfun. So I would rather just barrage them for now.
I'm probably gonna stick with barraging, but it's certainly something that I could
Yeah,
understand why someone would do.
I'm a huge fan of this coming into the game because, like, when I made my account, like the first thing I did was rush 99 Hunter hunting chins, and then I just used chins to do Barrage Slayer, but with chins, to get 99 magic in range. And I think for me, and it really like fits the way that I like to play the game. Like, I like the fact that I finished like that I could just incorporate chinning into training Slayer, and it kind of just felt like, you know, it synergized and kind of like mapped in well. Like, I really like the whole idea of like routing out an account. That's why I like make random new accounts all the time. And the whole idea of chinning Slayer, I think, is really good from that aspect of just it feels more complete than just like barraging way past 200 mil magic and then chinning on a bunch of skeletons in the Monkey Madness 2 tunnels later.
Yeah, okay. And I don't think I'd ever touch this, but it's something to consider for other people. So may as well talk about it on the podcast because it's new. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jagex posted a letter to the community this week, and it addressed 4 things, which was like PvP, polling, and then fixing old content and bug fixes. So, what content should be fixed first? What would you like to see fixed in RuneScape? Personally, I'd like to see swimming and volcanic mine fixed, because to be what they were pulled to be originally, agreed upon as, and not what they currently are. Those pieces of content need to be fixed, along with library. That's just was never intended, and a lot of things in RuneScape aren't intended, so that's not really an argument. But the fact that the most efficient way to train rune crafting is without crafting any runes, just running around a library, and it's just really stupid meta. It makes pure essence useless. It's really like unhealthy. So I'd like to see library and some fossil island stuff fixed. Charmander.
I think the blog is pretty much meaningless. I don't actually expect them to do anything that they've said in that blog. So
Agree.
just speaking of like, in a perfect world, what would I like to see fixed for like, I think Zaya Library being a viable training method, you could probably not consider a bug, but definitely an oversight, and something that shouldn't be in the game. That's probably like the only one that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, they add so much content into the game on a week by week basis that I'm sure people who do things like raids and lots of PVM stuff have more ideas than I do, but I just think they need to stop updating the game and focus on, like, just because I can't think of old content to fix doesn't mean that there isn't any, because there's an insane amount. It's just
Yeah.
I can't think of any. But regardless, I think the blog is meaningless and no one should take it seriously. If you think that blog is like holds any meaning, you should just reconsider, because they do one of those a year and it means nothing. So
Next.
Yeah, just fix Zaya library. Pretty much it.
Okay, Urba, what pieces of old content should be fixed first?
Yeah, I agree with
Just
next year.
okay,
Fixed library.
library. People unhappy with it.
This is probably the one that just comes to
Yeah.
our head first because I talk about it so much. But
Yeah.
don't be
There's a lot
fooled.
of
Like there's
things.
tons of stuff bad.
Well, and it's like one of the more bug style things that's in the game. Like you can't drop those books inside there. You can't do like anything else to juggle them except boxes work because they just didn't think about it. So it really does kind of fit the category of like a bug. There aren't that many other like massive bugs in game.
And it's almost like they're being stubborn, and because we talk about library a lot, is why they don't want to fix it. Is sort of the vibe that I get. It's because we talk about it so much is why they're leaving it in the game, because they would not like people to get the opinion that we run the game or something stupid like that. So I feel like they're almost being stubborn at this point, that because we complain about it, they don't want to fix it because they want to show that we're not in control of the game or something like that. Whereas it's just like, this is fucking broken, please fix it. But yeah.
Yeah. It's weird that they don't even like really seem to consider just the basic update of not making inboxes work.
They have. They've said they'll do it.
How...
Kieran has said he likes that idea, and they'll probably do it.
Yeah, that was Kieran's idea, was to make inboxes work.
But why didn't that get pulled back during like quality of life?
Oh yeah, also
like they spent a whole month on it where that idea was known, but they haven't launched a poll on that.
Because that's real quality of life, that doesn't belong in the Jagex quality of life month.
Do you want the Divine Spirit Shield in the game? That's quality of life.
That's a quality of life one.
But also they should fix contracts. That shit's broken.
That's not like
and
a bug.
The rate that Snape Grass seeds come into the game is stupid, and Potato Cactus seeds. You've ruined Iron Man Herblore. You've completely ruined it. You've been warned to not ruin it, and then you've gone and ruined it. So Snape Grass seeds are too easy to get. Potato Cactus seeds are too easy to get. You've ruined secondaries for Iron Man. It's been a complete disaster and fucked the skill permanently. There's nothing you can do to fix it now except for just nerf it and make it a little bit less fucked. But yeah. Farming God needs to change. Sorry, Mason?
Just some other old content, though, that I'd like to see him fix is just things like Barbarian Mix Potions. I'd actually like to be viable. And if they just made him heal like a little bit more HP and made him like user-friendly to make.
Not even
like,
that.
It's
I think a viable fix to those potions would to make them work like other potions. Like you can eat a food and sip the potion in the same tick. Whereas right now they act as food. So like, and you can't even combo them with potions, I don't think. So it's just weird. The way they eat, it's like weird delays.
Yeah. Well, but also the fact that there are 2 doses and they heal a total of 16 HP. Like it's it's not.
It's 6 HP each time you sip it, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But it's either 6 or 8. But like either way, you're just always kind of better off having a brew and then that potion. And if they just made them like slightly better, like heal a little bit more to make them competitive. Like it's a really cool concept. It's in the game now. It's been in the game forever, but it's just been not usable.
Yeah, that's a real example.
Yeah, and it's they wouldn't have to make it game breakingly good. Just like viable would be nice. And I'm not just saying that because I made mixed potions all the way to 99 herb. But there's a lot of stuff like that where they could, rather than creating like a new method, is just like revive some of these like things that came out just a super long time ago and just got dusty and stale, and so they just walked away from it and made something new. It's just like revive what's kind of already there.
Yeah, I mean there is an archive on the front page. They can just look through every update they made and see if they can make that content a little bit nicer to work with. Well, yeah, but
yeah.
I think the main one's library for us.
Yeah.
In contrast,
it's the main like bug that's in the game. It's definitely library. Everything else is just it's either like too strong or too weak. But library is just a straight up bug with the way that inboxes work.
Okay, so let's talk about balancing RuneScape in real life. So we always talk about this, but it's important. So something that we were talking about recently is maybe there's a certain type of personality, like maybe a more antisocial person makes it far in RuneScape, and why is that? And is that healthy? And do you have to be antisocial, or can you be a social person? So pretty much what I'm asking is, how do you personally balance RuneScape in real life? And so what are some examples of people in RuneScape that juggle real life and RuneScape well? So I remember Charmander last time he spoke about his real life situation and how he manages to make RuneScape work. So I think rather than him repeating that, you can just watch the past podcast. Maybe Charmander can talk about like what sort of personalities he thinks makes it far in RuneScape.
I think, like, regardless of your personality, it's just the people who are, like, I don't want this to sound like cringe, but like the people who are dedicated and like actually want to make it far in the game. Even if you're a really social person, like if you actually want to get a high rank and stuff, you're gonna make it work regardless. People like Sam Aryabhata, like he's drastically more social than I am, and he's a higher rank than I am just because, you know, you can do things passively on your phone, stuff like that, but these are things that only people who are dedicated will do, obviously. So I think in terms of, like, you know, it's always a joke that you're a max player and you're a front page person, so you're a greasy virgin who lives in your mom's basement. Like, there's so few people who are like that. Like, what's Oscar? I think he's like rank 3 or 4, something like that, right? The dude's like ripped because he's dedicated to the gym, and in the same way he's dedicated to RuneScape and being a high rank. And so it's possible for him to just carry that dedication over into the game and make time for it. And so I think it's less about like what type of personality you have, and just what priority you place on the game is what I think matters the most. But I mean, if you're just asking what personality is the best, then sure, the antisocial person who wants to be alone their entire life is obviously going
I
to
meant
have
more like how do you make being a high rank work? Because obviously, I just wanted you to like talk about how high level Iron Men aren't fucking virgin losers. Like
You just spend a lot of time at the computer.
Yeah, or just like we're just able to multitask or like click our phone every 20 minutes like everyone does anyway. It's just like a completely normal thing in real life. I don't know if you
like.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be at the computer. You just have to like grasp the concept that even if you're getting like 3k XP an hour at anglerfish on your phone or something, like
more than 0.
3k is more than 0, okay?
Yeah.
So it's like just keeping that in mind and not feeling like, why even do this if I'm only getting, 5k an hour? I might as well just not log in. Like getting rid of that mindset and adopting the mindset that like something is better than nothing is basically how you balance things.
It's all about consistency.
Like I said, I fished monkfish at work before. Like, if I was at my computer, I would never fucking do that. Like, monkfish are so trash. But my mindset was that me doing this is better than me being logged out of the game. So why wouldn't I do it? That's the kind of thing you have to keep in mind.
Like, rank 1 fishes monkfish, and he fishes a lot of monkfish. Like, it's all about consistency and what you can do. Like, not everyone sits here and plays the game 17 hours a day, but it's about how you make real life and RuneScape work, which is just AFKing things when you can, which I think is the way to be a really high rank. But I really want to hear what ERBR has to say. How do you make RuneScape in real life work, considering you're the highest rank here by far, and I don't think any of us will ever pass you. But what do you do to be a high rank and make real life work at the same time?
I guess using your phone is a keyword here.
Yeah.
And phone zone while you're at uni or work or whatever. It's not really that hard to balance RuneScape and IRL, I think.
So just stay logged in is the key.
Yeah, that's like the single biggest thing, is just stay logged in. That's it.
Do you sleep less to be a high rank, or do you do anything extraordinary? Or you're just a normal guy?
Really, no. Yeah. Go out in the weekends and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have to be playing this game like a slave. It's just being dedicated to what you're trying to achieve. And Mason, let's hear from you on how you make real life and RuneScape work, because you've got a really active real life.
Yeah, because I like for going far. Like if you're not the kind of person who's trying to compete on the high scores, like it's really easy to like get far, like in terms of maxing and a lot of PVM, even with like a super busy life. Because like I've got a full-time job, I'm a full-time student. You know, and I've got a dating life. I've got friends that I go out with and drink. I go and I rock climb 5 days a week. So no, it's just like you can be like like I started late into the mode and I'm pretty close to max, and it's just like using the time that you have to like actually play the game instead of complaining on Reddit that the game's not fast enough and you can't do it. Like if you just gain XP, like you will eventually get there. You know, and you'll be slower than other people. Like people will blow by you, you know, who don't have lives, but you can still make a lot of progress on your account and end up with like a sick account.
Yeah,
while
like,
also, you know, doing whatever you want in real life.
Your Iron Man is pretty much, it's like almost the maxed Iron Man, and then you've got all the Chambers of Xeric items and all the Raids 2 items. You've done more PVM than most of us will ever do. Like, it's not like you're a low level saying this. Like, you've got an active real life, and you've got a really sick Iron Man account. Like, you've got Scythe, T-Bow, everything.
Yeah, and it's just, I do like 20 EHP weeks, but I've done them ever since I made my account. Like,
consistency.
You know. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've talked about this a lot. That's sort of it for the podcast. I see that Charmander's added a great question.
To
be asked,
the answer is yes.
I'll avoid that one.
Fair enough.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to talk about Olympus Bingo for about half an hour or so before we wrap it up. But we're going to exchange Urba for Naturally Me, if that's okay. So say goodbye, Urba. Put your Twitter in the Twitch
Goodbye.
chat. And
see you,
Alright, it's been real, my dude. We're going to bring in Naturally Me for the...
Okay, thanks for having me.
See you, dude.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Yeah, it's
I
late for
guess.
you, isn't it? It's like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So you want to let him go. Alright, see you, Urba.
Yeah.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Nice night, man.
Okay, and we have got Naturally Me. Hey, Tom.
Yo.
Hey.
Hey, okay, so